Managerial, no clue, far from the land. Tottenham stranded in shadows, no man's land. Lost on the pitch, echoes in the night. Fans screaming loud, no end in sight. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football mist. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Shift the blame like drifting sand. Promises empty, no steady hand. Wandering clueless in the football mist. Wishing for a twist, but nightmares persist. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Speechless, impressed, they're at the ground. No solutions, nowhere to be found. Fast on the side, hearts turned to stone. Stadium echoes a lonesome drone. Whispers in the air, they speak of change. Hope on the horizon feels so strange. Question marks in every wayward pass, and ghosts of future fading fast. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind. Where's the Leo we waited in vain? Pains us deeply every season the same. No direction, stumbling blind. Tottenham's lost its mind.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.
What's happening, people? Welcome to Tottenham Away, the best place to be post-match Spurs day. My goodness me, man. Game by game, it's getting worse by worse. But hey, it's still Christmas, so let's try and keep some festive spirit going. Thanks for being here. As always, smash a like, subscribe, hit notification bell, all that good stuff. Yes, people, Tottenham's lost its mind, as the intro tells you. You know what? There's so much I want to talk about today. Not just the game, but because I went to the game and there's things I saw and I need to unleash, get it off my chest. But before we do that, if you've got any comments to put up during the stream, put them in the live chat and I'll try and go for as many as I can. If you've got any questions, get your super chats in. Make sure you follow the Hotspur Hood, Dan. And well done, Dan. 4,000 subscribers, man. Big achievement.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you, my man. On to, listen, I don't like saying on to 5,000. I think you should always aim bigger. 10K, that's the next one. The next big one, man. 10K, you will get there. You will get there. 10K is the next big one. Let's help him get there. Guys, do you know what? Let's say hello first. Let me calm myself down because I'm so angry with today. Things that I saw. But I wanna come from a rational, calm place, not an angry place. Let's go around and say hello to everyone. Big up the chat. Hope you're all well. Hope the families are good. New Year's is nearly upon us. Maybe we get a new manager before the end of the year. We'll see. But Maz, how you doing, man? Like, how's things? How's life? How are you on break? Or are you still working at the moment?
No, I'm always working, mate. There is no breaks. Where am I? Well, you can't blame Daniel Levy for this, can you? Like, he wasn't picking the team and, well, any of it.
Oh, today's match we're talking about.
Well, yeah, I mean, Daniel Levy didn't pick the players. Daniel Levy, he's not the doctor who like looks after people's hamstrings, is he? I mean, he's not exactly the scout that goes and looks at the players. So, yes, definitely not Daniel Levy's fault. I also think we need to cut Ange some slack because I'm actually starting to enjoy his press conferences as well. I find them really entertaining. Like, you're never going to get that level of lies and comedy all in one press conference. So I'm almost turning Ange in. So I'm quite happy, to be honest with you. Long may this continue.
If anyone doesn't know, Maz was being sarcastic. William Leone, big up for the super chat. Is Ange gone yet? As far as we know, no. I can't take this shit anymore. None of us on this channel. I know we can't. We get a couple that think maybe give him a bit more time, but everyone's allowed their opinions. Scott, how are you outside of football? How are we? How's things? How's life?
I'll tell you, outside of football, it's my oldest son's 18th birthday today, and the fact that I am old
Happy
enough to have
birthday
an
to your boy.
18-year-old
Happy birthday.
is insane to me right now. But yeah, so pretty good. Good Christmas season outside of Spurs. Everything's going great, and with Spurs, I'm going to kind of follow up on what Maz was saying. I'm just going to keep being amazed at how people find new excuses to make for Ange. Like it is comical at this point that there's still people there trying to back this guy and pretend like he isn't a total disaster. It isn't totally out of his league. But I'm sure we'll get into it and talk about that maybe once or twice today.
100% we're going to speak about Ange. Because today, mate, Dan, I'm guessing you've been streaming quite a lot today, or was it just Sava's show? By the way, if anyone's just joined from the Football Heritage, thank you for coming across. Big up to the Sava raid. Appreciate it. Hopefully Sava comes on at some point as well tonight. Dan, yeah, how are you, man? How's things?
Oh, same Spurs, different day. But first thing, on a positive side, I want to bring up, congratulations, Tommy. He had his little boy a couple of days ago, called him Owen, and best wishes to him and everything and that, and good luck to everything in the world and all the fun you're going to have with having a little boy. I mean, being a parent is the most contradicting job you will ever do in your entire life. That's all I can say with that one. But that's the positive side. Apart from that, same Spurs, different day, mate.
Big up to Tommy. If anyone doesn't know who Tommy is, he used to run the Hotspur Hood, but he gave the channel over to Dan. But he pops his head up once in a while and comes on YouTube still. But big up to Tommy, original YouTube content creator. How are you? You good? You all right?
I'm good. How's everyone doing? Hope everyone's having a great holiday. And yeah, another Spurs day, but I just want to say something quickly. Do you remember a year ago I created a petition for getting Ange out? And everyone called me deluded and crazy. Well, now I'm now I'm turning into Ange in, because everyone's turning against him, so I'm going to do the complete opposite. That's what I'm going to do. I'm Ange in now. I hope he continues. I hope he takes us to glory, and I don't care anymore. I hope he burns this club to the ground. That's all I'm asking. So, Ange.
Maz is enjoying Ange's press conferences. Scott's happy birthday to his son. Dan's bigging up Tommy's newborn. And Dietrich's is Ange in. We're off to the weirdest start to a show in a long time. Oh my Lord. All right. Let's get into this one. I need to say this because, you know, and I want this to come across in a way where I'm not saying to people, I told you so. I'm right. You're wrong. I don't want it to come across that way. But this has to be said. For all these years and all these months that this channel has been saying, Levy out, Enoch out, they're the poison. They're the toxicity. You must protest. You must take action. Whether you want to protest, boycott, we must do something. And fans are the problem because they accept it. Fans are the problem because they refuse to take action. YouTube content creators, they talk about Enoch and Levy and then they say, you see, we spoke about it. No one cares if you speak about it. What are you going to do about it? And I've heard more Enoch Levy out, and we want change at the top, and they're going on mainstream media platforms and YouTube channels having these debates. None of them still are doing anything about it. I went to the ground today. I had friends over from abroad. We booked it months ago. I said to them, boys, I haven't been going, man. I've been boycotting. I'm going to go because you've flown over. We've committed to it. I'm not going to, just be selfish about it. I went down the high road. Do you know how many people were at the protest today, guys? Do you know? Zero.
No.
Zero. No protests. I do not want another person to email me or message me telling me, Stel, you must do this. Stel, I watched your show. You've got to lead it. Stel, you need to. Do not tell me what to do, because I was bang on about it. I said this protest will not last and it will not be consistent. The only people that were consistent were the original Levy Out, Enoch Out protesters. Brian Daigle, me, Graham, all of Graham's friends whose names I won't mention because they might not want their names read out. Ben Kaufman, Phil P, Iggy, Maz, and many others. We were there every match day before the games, consistent. Where's this protest? And when I say fans are the problem, and when I say where are these people when it matters, none of them give a shit. None of them give a shit, man. And I have to say this because it pissed me off today when I saw that, because I thought, do you know what? I'll go and join it. I'll go and show my support. No one's there. It's an absolute scam. And when Wolves equalised, and it was coming, by the way, and when Wolves equalised, and Spurs were playing shit. There's about 15 minutes to that game we looked good. The rest of the game, we were crap. And when Wolves equalised, by the way, Wolves are a relegation team, people. They're a relegation team. When Wolves equalised, do you know what the fans did? Silence. And with 8 minutes to go, do you know what the fans did? Levy out? Enoch out? No. When the final whistle blew, any boos? No. I went downstairs, calm, relaxed, drinking. And I thought, you don't give a shit, man. I've been telling everyone this. And then people say,
there was a little bit of booze.
You've got to do that.
There was a little bit of booze at the end. Very little. Right, I agree with you. Very little. And
it was minor.
And yeah, so minor. It wasn't notable at all. The reason why I want to come in here is when I was saying last week, I was complaining that the club is gone, the club is lost. It's done. The fans have checked out. They don't care about the history anymore. They've thrown it away. They won't remember Son when he's gone. They don't care about his history or what he's done. They don't care about any of our great players of the past or the managers or anything like that. And we need to rename the club. I was deadly serious for the reasons you just said. For the reasons you just said. The fans do not care anymore. They didn't boo against Liverpool, but they booed a tiny bit against Wolves today. And it probably wasn't because that we're in relegation form. It probably was because they were hoping that we'd get a win instead of a draw.
Maz, see, the people in the chat saying there was booze. I'm sorry, there was not proper booze. When Conte was here and it was going tips up, there was proper, we want Levy out chants. That stadium was rocking with that noise of we want Levy out. That's why Levy's wife stroked his hand saying, it'll be okay. Mm-hmm. When we booed, we booed. We booed big time. Today was so timid. Fans don't care, man. They don't care. And I'm sorry, I'm going to say this as well. This is now the third biggest fan channel for Spurs on YouTube as it currently stands. We are the biggest Enoch and Levy Out channel. We are. No one bangs the drum more than this channel for the size we are. Change for Tottenham. Why won't you speak to us? Change for Tottenham. We've reached out to you 3-4 times. I need to understand what your agenda is, what your plan is, and where this is going to go so that we can back it, so that we can get people that watch this show to support it. We're being ignored, man. So I don't want to hear about bringing fans together. I don't want to hear about collaboration. It's a fallacy, right? As it stands now, it's a fallacy. Everything I'm seeing about fans taking action and doing something, I've never seen such lies and nonsense since we've been doing this whole Enoch Levy out thought process of ours, because we blame them. And by the way, I'm going to say this as well, and then we'll move it on. For me, we've been bang on the money about Enoch and Levy all these years. And for all those people and those YouTubers who called us toxic, negative, charlatans, poison, how fucking wrong are you? How bad do you look now? Not for being wrong, but for what you tried to label us with and the way you tried to tarnish us when we were saying to you, that's the problem. Listen, I want Ange gone. I hope he gets sacked. I don't rate him. I want a different manager. But who hired him, people? Who hired him? Who hired Scott Munn? Whose relaunch of the club? Whose we've got our Tottenham back vision are you looking at now? This Ange, Munn, Levy combo is the biggest Ponzi scheme con that this fan base has ever been sold. And our fans are so embarrassed that they got sucked in by it again. They can't admit, fuck. Let's unite against him. We said this all along, man. We've been saying this all along. And I had to get this off my chest because I was in that stadium and it just stank of defeatism. It stank of acceptance, of mediocrity and failure. And I walked out of there. It was so relaxed, people. That today, for most of those people there, that's all right. We'll try and win the next one. Man, Naz, you're right. The club is gone. And I needed to say this today because we can blame Ange, and we will talk about Ange, and we will talk about players and tactics because we must, because that's what happened today. But who fucking hired Ange? Who fucking brought in Munn? Who's in charge of signing off on the players? 25 years, 3 decades of this ownership, and we're in the same shithole we've been for the last 25 years, which is mediocrity. This is on Levy and Enoch. End of. And this is what we've been saying all along. Fans need to wake up and properly take action and change for Tottenham. If you really mean you want to do something, reach out to us, man. Speak. Or stop this talk of bringing fans together. I don't get it. Anyway, boys, sorry to waste the first 17 minutes of the show ranting on this, but today pissed me off, man. It really pissed me off because I don't want to be told what I need to do and what I'm doing. It's not me. I've been saying this and I'm being proven right more and more and more. Anyway, I've spoken and I don't want to say any more because then I might say something. I might step over the line with what I'm saying. So, yes, Scott, man, go for it. Speak.
I was just going to say, the fact whether there was booze or not, with where we are in the league right now, like the worst spot we've been in 15 to 20 years, there shouldn't be any debate whether there was booze or not. The noise, I don't care how loud Levy makes the music at the stadium, the booze should be so loud, so long for the whole game that it doesn't matter. There shouldn't be any debate. And that's so even if there was some booze, there shouldn't be any debate whether there was or not. And we should be able to clearly hear it without any problem.
Yeah, I just want to say, Dan, sorry, I just want to quickly say, sorry to interrupt you. People in the chat, I'm not talking to you. You guys have been with us. A lot of you are overseas, you can't. There's people in the chat who do come to the protest. I'm not speaking to you directly. I want you to share what I'm saying with the other channels that you watch and the other platforms you go on. Because this message, if we don't drum it home, we have completely lost the club forever. Like Maz said, if he changes the name of the club, and don't be surprised, do not write it off, then it's done for good. So, Dan, sorry, bro. Sorry.
Well, everybody knows what he does at the end. He just turns the music up. So why don't people do it 10 minutes before the end when he can't turn the music up? Why don't people do it after 20 minutes or have a set time where they're going to do it, where they know he can't turn the music up? It's pretty simple if you ask me, really. Or is that just the lack of communication we have?
They don't want it, Dan. That's all it is. They wanted it.
I mean, to me, it's quite a simple answer on how to get round it, basically. But yeah, it's what you said, isn't it?
Listen, boys, I'm all for sacking Ange, man. I don't want him at the club. We should never have appointed him in the first place. And whoever we sign next, eventually it'll probably fail. But that doesn't mean just because it might fail with the next guy, well, it probably will, that it justifies keeping this guy who's doing worse than what a decent manager would do. A decent manager would have us in a top 4 race or at least top 6. This guy, we're crumbling at the absolutely falling apart at the seams, with or without injuries. Wolves today, guys, can I tell you something? The way they play football is perfect for Spurs. They play out from the back really long. They took a lot of risk at the back, which we press, pounce on, and force errors. They weren't great at it. There's moments where they were not too bad, but in general, they weren't brilliant at it. I didn't watch Wolves today and think, what a team. I never once felt that. In attack, I thought they were pretty toothless. I thought, you're nothing special. They took off their best player, Cunha, and they took off another guy. I forgot his name. They lost another player who was playing really well for them. I think it's Adrian, I think. I could be wrong. He was playing quite well. And they had injuries as well. And I'm thinking, they're there for the taking. Boys, girls, the way we played, we didn't test their weaknesses. We didn't forget missing the 2 centre-backs. Our midfield and attack today was rubbish.
Rubbish.
Other than 1 or 2 good passages of play, they're a relegation team. They're literally on their knees, Wolves. And they came to our ground. I'm telling you, they didn't just match us. At times, they were better. They were better than us today. And I sat there thinking, what's the excuse, man? It is the manager. It has to be the manager. It can't be anything else.
Well, it can't be Daniel Levy because he doesn't pick the team, right?
Yeah, correct.
You can't put this on Daniel Levy on how bad we are actually doing. Yes, we all know what he is.
No, yes, but he's not. But you can't put it on Daniel Levy for the injuries.
No, I'm agreeing with you. No.
What?
I'm agreeing with what you're saying here. I'm agreeing with everything of what you said and everything you're going to say. Ange is the one who picks the team. Ange is the one who picks the tactics. Ange is the one who picks everything to do with it, how we train and everything else. It is his fault we don't have 2 centre-backs because the idiot went and played 2 semi-fit centre-backs against Chelsea, of all teams, to go and do it. It's his fault we are in the position we are in. He is the one who does it. You can't blame Levy for what happens on that pitch in the aspect of the way the manager plays suicidal gung-ho football with inverted wing-backs.
I'll tell you why. Let me tell you why.
It's the
Let me
manager.
tell you why. Right. I've been sat. I was winding up a lot of people in Savage chat earlier today, and I kept like alleviating Levy of all the blame of everything, and I think it gets to the point where you can't not blame Levy, and even for the style of play, and the reason why you can't not blame him is because he wanted that style of play. Right. So he purposely went out and recruited for a manager that implemented an attacking philosophy. Right. Andrew would have come in and said to him, I don't change, mate. We'll never change. This is how we do it. And there's going to be really dark periods where we might lose, but we need to lose lots before we come out the other end. And he was talking about that in his when he first came to the club, in his interviews, etc. And ultimately, Levy's the final sign off of what players we get into the club. Now, here's the thing, right? When in America you have Senate hearings or Senate committees where they get the FBI director to come in, or some CEO of Facebook or Google, whatever, to come in and answer questions. Why don't they get the management team to come in and answer questions? They always get, right, the CEO or someone who's deputizing for the CEO to answer the questions. And they ask them micro and macro level questions. Why does your algorithm do this? Why does it censor this? Why does it delete this? Why does it not stop porn? Why does it not do this, that, and the other? Right? And they have to answer the questions. And the CEO says, oh, I don't know. I'll have to get back to you on that and when I speak to my technical team or my managers or whatever. Right? In the UK, we have select committees where they get a CEO or director or whoever's in charge of a certain department, and they ask them micro and macro questions about how they're running the business, how they're operating it. They never get their managers in to run that. So why can't it be Daniel Levy's fault? He's the person culpable for the business, for everything.
Oh, I get
right?
that.
But but we shouldn't accept this argument that he doesn't pick the players. When it gets to this bad of a state, which it has, then he's culpable. He doesn't absolve.
We all know what the
accountability
problem
from it.
is. Okay, I missed your sarcasm, yeah, but then I'm going to disagree with you here. He is not the one who actually picks the tactics we play. He does not say to, okay, he might have said to Ange, I want attacking football. Fair enough. I very much doubt he sat there with Ange and got the scoreboard out and said, right, I want you to invert the wing backs. I want you to do this. I want you to do this in training and everything else. So for that crap, I can't blame Daniel Levy. I know it starts at the top. He picked them, everything else. You can go to that shit. I get that. But he is not the one who sits there and says, play with two inverted wing backs, play injured players in games that they shouldn't be playing, stick with the same players all the time, maybe chopping and changing your midfield. You can't hold Levy accountable for that. But if you want to put it on the bigger circle,
no, you can.
All right, you can say Levy's accountable for everything, but he does not pick the tactics we play.
Yeah,
and
but
he does not pick the
he's
players that go on
ultimately
the pitch.
accountable, Dan. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying he's making the decisions day to day, right, or picking the team, but he's ultimately accountable, right? And if he sees that his staff is making bad decisions, right, or his management team see that his staff is making bad decisions, then it's his responsibility to make sure that that gets changed. If he doesn't make sure that that gets changed, we fail, right? So
that one's down to him. I get that.
Yeah. And that's what I'm getting at. I'm saying I know why people say Levy's not the one who picks the team, because it's a very convenient way of moving blame away from the structural problems at Tottenham Hotspur and why this keeps happening and again. Because here's the thing. This is why people don't think about what they're saying, right? And it's almost a circular argument, right? They say, I don't want to sack a manager because we know what will happen again in 18 months, right? If you know that, right, then why aren't you talking about Levy and Levy out? And why aren't you supporting that? But they don't want to talk about it. I would say 95, not you, Dan. I'm using you as a sounding board because, you know, we're having discussion, right? But 95, yeah, right. But 95% of the people that discuss this, right, you don't want to talk about Levy out in any great depth. They'll mention it. They'll say, "Oh yeah, we know this," right? But you know, we can't go through another manager cycle, so let's not talk about it because we can't do another manager. I would rather have the manager there and get relegated, but they don't want that either, right? So it's they're making excuses not to tackle the problem head on. That's what I'm getting at.
Again, I can't argue that point. You're right. When it comes down to the crunch, he is. I ain't going to use the word because still don't like me using the phrase, but he is the disease that eats this club inside out, and I'm pretty sure everyone knows what I mean.
I don't mind you saying that.
But again, okay, he's the cancer of the club. There you go.
Oh,
and
that bit. No.
Too late now.
I thought you meant the word disease.
Too late now.
It's done.
Shit happened.
Oh, we're gonna get Eddie coming on saying you're censoring me. Don't censor me.
And when it comes down to it, he does sign off He does sign off this side. We all know what he is, and a lot of people, they do ignore it. And I do think Ange at the moment is the perfect scapegoat for Levy. Why? But for me, it's because Ange has done it to himself. I believe he's gone out there with a bit of paper and he's had to say certain things, same as most managers do have to do at a club. Maybe not the extent they do at Spurs. But you cannot tell me that he has been told to say everything he had by Levy. Surely not. Because that man went on about things and just said so many things that he didn't have to do. I'm surprised he's got feet left the amount of times he shot himself, let alone the back of a head. And he's done himself up like a kipper, diverted everything off of Levy and put it on himself, the idiot. and Levy's loving every minute of it. Again, I get all that. But when it comes to what is happening on the pitch, here and now, Levy don't pick the tactics. I can't blame him for that.
I don't disagree with that. But the issue I've got is yes, Scott. I just want to say the issue I've got is this happens with every manager we've got, Dan. Every manager we've got, this shit happens. Yeah, Scott. Of course, you can speak.
Well, I wanted to just touch on something that Maz said, and hopefully I can tie it in. And if I can't, that's okay. You said that Levy thought that he was bringing in a manager who's going to play that attacking style, and I think it shows how little he understands football. That he thought that Ange could come in here and play a style that works, especially bringing in a manager like that, expecting it's going to work and not being able to buy any quality players that are needed to play. And I just think it's so representative of what Levy does. When you bring in Jose, you bring in Conte, you don't give them. And this isn't going to give Ange a pass, but you bring in Jose, you bring in Conte. You know, if you're going to bring in Conte, you need to give him the players he wants. And I want to make a key point because I hear this a lot. That doesn't mean spending 200, 300, 400 million dollars. Pounds. Look at the players he brought into this Napoli team. He didn't spend a ton of money. We could have bought every single player that he brought in, but you have to buy the players he wants. He didn't do that. He brought in Ange, not understanding that a manager at Ange's low level who doesn't have the managerial experience, doesn't have the football tactics to succeed in the Premier League. He thought, I'll just bring this guy in and he'll just play this exciting attacking style, which he was never going to do. And it just goes to show Levy has no clue what he's doing. He has no clue about football. And that's why I would say ultimately he's always at fault, because he makes football decisions with no football intelligence. And he brought Ange in here, said, we're just going to play this style. It's going to make the fans happy. And it hasn't, because even though the dumb fans say that we're playing good football, the football's atrocious. And it goes back to what Dan said way at the start. All he had to do is kick the ball forward. And because the notion is that he kicks the ball forward, fans say that it's good football. That was dreadful. I don't know how many games people can point to under Conte that were that bad to watch against the 17th place Wolves team at home. Like, that is awful football today, and it has been all season long. But because Levy doesn't understand that a manager whose level is Celtic, whose level is Australia, whose level is Japan, that he can't bring quality football here. He brings in a manager that has no business being in at Tottenham Hotspur.
And the best bit that happened in the game, and it actually looked like a quality bit of passing and set up, the two players bloody tackle themselves and fall over themselves at the end of it.
And I think we're offside too, wasn't it? Offside anyways?
I can't remember. I think it was actually offside, thank God.
Yeah.
But
No, it was like the best part. It was offside. They banged into each other. Like,
it was a lovely setup. It really was a lovely setup. Sorry, Dietrich, go on, mate.
No, I said the funniest one was when Werner tried to take a touch and it went out of play. Like, that's the most Spursy thing.
No. For me, this was something different. This one today, when I saw this was the moment I realized now we're a circus. We're now officially a circus. Okay. Do you remember this part of the game, guys? I'm sure everyone will remember this magnificent bit of technical skill from our players. Look at it. What are we, fucking monkeys on the monkey bar doing gymnastics? Hey, bang, bang, bang. Honestly, I was sitting right behind it. And it was such a good passage of play. It was like, pass. I'm thinking, okay, finally, some good football. You know, let me get up. Let me watch this. It comes across, and the Chuckle brothers just bang into each other like absolute donuts, learning how to walk for the first time. Mate, I saw that and I thought, damn.
Surely the problem
that is 7-year-old football. You know when kids first
I don't
start
even
playing,
think 7-year-olds do that.
they run into the goalpost or they go to take a corner and they kick it the wrong way and stuff. They just don't know the rules. I'm watching this. I'm like, how much are you on? How much are you on? How much did we pay for you? I couldn't believe what I was watching. I genuinely couldn't believe what I was watching.
I think what makes that whole scenario, when that happened, I just was in utter disbelief. But when Bentancur was running behind him, you would shout, right? Leave it, or mine, or whatever they
Benny's
whatever
ball.
they say.
Solanke's ball,
right? But there'll be a certain point when Benny realizes he's not going to let me have that, isn't it?
I don't even think you can blame Solanke for that. He wasn't looking behind him. And really, as the striker, he shouldn't have to. That was more down to Bentancur.
Yeah. And Bentancur just runs into him.
You know what that shows to me, yeah? That just shows the lack of, I don't know what word to use, but telepathy, maybe it's the
I
word.
think they'll be hanging around with Basuma too much. That's what the problem is.
Yeah. Yeah, using the old balloon.
Or a Doji, one of the two.
But what I'm saying is, it's like the example I'll give of, like, if you go back to the way the Germans used to play, yeah, every single player on that pitch, you could have put a bandana around their head, like over their eyes, spun them around 10 times, and they would still know where every player in their team was on that pitch or what they were going to do. The way Son and Kane used to be they just used to know what the other one was going to do, or have a good idea of what the other on the team was going to do. And yeah, like someone just said on the side, awareness. Yes, that's the one I was trying to get at. And this team don't. It doesn't have none of it. None of them seem to understand each other or even have a clue what the other player is going to do.
Nah, mate, it's comedy. It's comedy. Brad Ladd. Did I blame Ange for those two bumping into each other?
Yes, I blame him, actually.
Maz blames him. I said this is the moment I realised we're a circus. I never blamed Ange, but hold on a minute. Hold on. This is where right. People are so emotional.
He
over
picks
Ange.
the players.
What the fuck has he got over our fans?
Right.
What has he got? Is he giving them like free kind of sexual favors that we're not allowed to know about or something, and they must protect him? I don't get it.
You know what I think it is, Stel, is there's so many people that have, and I'm not taking a shot because Bryce is there. He's awesome. We've known him for a long time.
Bryce has always called
there's
out Ange,
so many
Bryce
Aussie
has always
fans
called
that
out
seem, but there's so many Aussie fans that seem to think that if Ange fails, somehow it's a knock on Australians, or they're not like them as Aussie. Like
Scott,
it's
we don't know if he's an Aussie.
I don't care
Scott, but we don't know if he's an Aussie, right? We don't know.
Well,
look.
I mean, most of them are, and I'm not taking a shot at Aussies because there's great Aussie fans, but so many of these fans that get that emotional. It's like,
but it's a deflection against the truth, isn't it? It's a deflection against the truth, right? They're willing to give Ange the praise when we play well. They're willing to give Ange the praise when we're on song and we batter teams 4-1 or 4-0 or whatever. They're willing to give Ange the praise when they see attacking football or fluid football, right? They're willing to give Ange the praise when Brenton Johnson scores tap-ins, right? They're willing to give Ange the praise if, I don't know, Son scores 20 penalties in a season, or James Maddison sets up goals. But no, it's not Ange's fault when the players make mistakes. No, it is his fault when they make mistakes because he's ultimately responsible for them. They're his children. If they make a mistake, then that means he makes a mistake. That's how life works, guys. This is what the working world is. This is why you have managers, because they manage people, right? Therefore, by proxy, it is his fault. This is how the big world works. Sorry, I'm not trying to be condescending.
No, listen. It's a fair argument. Me personally, I just think we're in such a mess under Ange's guidance and under Levy's rule that what you're seeing on the pitch, when I see two players doing that against a relegation team, for me, it's a reflection of the manager's the environment that he's now put us in, and the overall culture of the football club. And that's why I said, for me, this is the moment I realized we are now officially a circus. It was pure comedy out there tonight.
I'm seeing some of the comments, right? Sorry, I need to address this. Let me break it down for some people. Let's say you're working in a coffee shop, right? And people come in and all you do all day is make cappuccinos, right? All day. And your cappuccinos aren't very good, right? And then the area manager of your little coffee store, for Costa Coffee, for example, comes, right, and says, why are your cappuccinos so bad in this store? Who do you think they say that to? Do you think they say that to the barista who's making the coffee, or do they say it to the manager?
Manager.
And do you think the area manager gives a shit about the barista who's making the coffee, or does he bollock the manager?
The manager.
Exactly. So this thing about it's Ange can't control the players on the pitch. Yeah, not in that moment he can't, because he's not got he's not got an Xbox controller and controlling them like FIFA, right? But overall, it's his responsibility. It's his fault. And if he's not willing to take that responsibility and accountability on himself, he either resigns or he doesn't pick the players. That's how it works. Story out with Maz. That's right.
Story out with Maz. I just want to do a couple of quick super chats because I'm getting behind on these. Big up to Elucidated LMP. We don't have the fans in the stadium to protest or boo. What we have is tourists, all of them with £400 in their pockets to spend in the club shop. Do you know what? We certainly do have an issue with fans in that stadium when it comes to protesting and booing. EdX, channel member for 8 months. Big up to you, Ed. Boo birds needed all match long. Stel is right. Bertie Hotspur, totally agree, Maz. Levy is the provider of these dross ingredients from top to bottom. Listen, I think you'll find most of us agree with you there, Bertie Hotspur. A user, for me, Kulu overplayed, Madison underplayed. We're going to talk about Madison tonight because that's another thing that pissed me off. Son is spent. We're going to definitely talk about Son. Why bring on Reggie now? I don't think we had a choice, mate. Adogi went off with an injury, no more wingbacks. And still the same. We got mauled by toothless Wolves, silly cards. Listen, there's a lot there to unpack. We will. What do you call a ball with a hamstring problem? Pulled pork. Mate, did you get that at Christmas cracker? Nugget became a channel member. Thank you, Nugget. And Phil Coy is channel member for 1 month. Big up to you both, guys. Much appreciated.
Can I please talk about Son?
When we get onto it, I want to get onto the players. I want to just. By the way, can I just say to people as well, during these difficult times at Tottenham and supporting this shit show of a club, I'm not trying to advocate anyone starts drinking if you don't drink, but people that do drink, the occasional drink, I want to recommend some things to you that I've discovered during my Christmas festivities. All right,
Okay,
this is a bit labels really nice.
This is haram. This is haram still.
Okay, but this isn't a haram channel. So what I want to show you first of all is this. It's a Japanese whiskey called Pure Malt Red by Nikka, and also Tenjaku, another Japanese whiskey. Guys, I know I'm going off piste, but it's because I'm sick of talking about Spurs. I just need to deflect a little bit. Japanese whiskey. If you're struggling at Tottenham and you do drink and you need something to help you through these troubled times, just to take your mind off of the seriousness of this fucking crap club, I highly recommend a little glass of Japanese whiskey. It is top stuff, people.
Yeah.
So can I just say that
Yamazaki was the first single malt to win the World Whiskey of the Year, whatever, outside of Scotland. And so Yamazaki is really good. So I highly recommend that. In the UK, it's about 70 quid. And Hibiki, someone else mentioned in the chat, if you like your whiskey, it's fantastic. They make brilliant whiskies.
We've actually got a Portuguese, Brazilian, I think, Japanese fan, the Psycho Teacher. Psycho Teacher, can you recommend us a Japanese whiskey as well? Because you're Japanese stroke. There he is. Spot on, Maz. If you can recommend something, let us know. Anyway, back to the game. So,
do you guys want any Polish vodkas recommended or no? Vodka is.
I do like vodka.
I bet
like
you
vodka
do.
and gin. Mate, the more Spurs lose, the more I'm enjoying alcohol. It's Levy's actually killing me as a person as well. Like health wise, he's killing me as well because I'm drinking more. So look, today's game, it finished 2-2. They had more possession. Can I just say the last 20 minutes, we gave up 80% possession to Wolves. Mm-hmm. Total shots, pretty equal, 13-11. On target, equal. Passes, they had more, but that's because they had more possession. Clear-cut chances, we actually had more than them. Corners were equal. So Wolves matched us. Wolves matched us on the day. And they had their two best players off the pitch. I must pick up the number 29. I think it was called Gonzalez or something like that played
Gonzalez
on the wing. Mate, he was fantastic. For me, he was the best player on the pitch today. I thought he was excellent.
No, it was Cunha Gomez for me.
Cunha went off. Cunha went off
Gomez,
at half-time.
Yeah, Gomez, the midfielder. He killed us.
He was excellent. But look, stats-wise, it was a pretty equal game. This is pretty frightening. The XG race, our XG spiked at 30 minutes. But look at Wolves. As the game went on, the chances of them scoring went up and up and up. And it's no coincidence they scored on the upward trajectory of their XG going up. That goal was coming. And the funny thing is, the two boys I went to tonight, big up to Gianni and to Raf, who came from Italy, their first ever time at Spurs Stadium, and the last time they will be coming as well, I can let you know. They actually said to me, if this game stays at 2-1, like Italians love their football, like they go into detail that we don't, right? And they both said to me, if this stays at 2-1, we're going to get nervous. He goes, look, Spurs are going to get nervous. And in the last 10 minutes, watch Wolves score. And I said, do you reckon? They're like, yeah. Literally what they said happened. And I just couldn't believe that people in the stands can see what's happening, but our fucking manager and our players can't see it. In terms of the season so far, this is horrendous. Average league points accumulated, points per game, on average, is 66, round about there. Guys, we're on course for 51. The second worst season in the history of Spurs since we last won a trophy. That is fucking abysmal. It is
worse than Gross.
That was a different thing, Stelios. Sorry, just to butt in. It wasn't. It's points over. It's points over a year, right? So they take a calendar year from 1st of Jan to 31st of December, and it's all points we got in that calendar year. Because I've seen that graph too. It's not projections for a season. It's not projections for a season. Right. It's how much points you got in a calendar year, right? So in 2024, we got 51 league points, which is still shambolic. Like it still proves your point, right? But
what this is saying is this is our worst ever calendar year since 2008. Then,
yep, exactly that.
He's doing worse than Christian Gross.
Check this out. Season 1, 36 points, 1.89 points per game. From 20 games to 38, 30 points, 1.58 per game. Season 2, 24 points from 1.26 points per game. So basically, every 20 games, so Ange has done approximately 60 games. Every 20 games, our points per game is dropping and dropping. We're currently on course for 48 points this year. Mm-hmm. It's absolutely absurd. Guys, look at this one. Look at this one. We've made it 2 wins in our last 10 games. 2 wins in our last 10 games. And we've also broken the record. Tottenham are the first team in the Premier League history to fall behind 1-0 in 15 home games in a single calendar year. Boys, we've got Newcastle next. We've got Liverpool in the Carabao Cup. By the way, Liverpool are terrorizing teams. I'm so glad we didn't do everything we could to get Arne Slot. I'm so glad we didn't sign Arne Slot when I mentioned it years ago. And that when Spurs apparently approached him, that's all right. I'm so glad we didn't do that. Liverpool and Arsenal at the Emirates. On a serious note, if we can't beat Nottingham Forest, by the way, hats off to fucking Nuno, man. I don't care what anyone says. He's doing magic at that club. Absolutely dynamite. Yeah. Second in the league. Wow. I hope Nottingham Forest get top. Nothing will make me more happy this season other than Spurs winning a trophy than Forest getting top 4. If they do it, I'd love it. But if we can't beat the mighty Nottingham Forest, you know, that global football powerhouse, and we can't beat Wolverhampton relegation battling Wanderers at our home ground, how the fuck are we going to beat Newcastle, who are resurgent and they look like they've got their shit back together? How are we going to beat Arsenal, who are the second arguably best team in the country? And how the fuck do we beat Liverpool? Like, boys, serious question, right? Serious question now. And this is something that's dividing fans and everyone in the comments. And Michael, I'll go to you first and we'll go around. Let everyone have a chance to speak on this. On the video I did after the match, I asked the guy that came with me, Raf, and I said to him, Raf, this is what's dividing the fans. Do you sack Ange now immediately and do whatever it takes to bring in the next manager and try and save this season? What I mean by save this season is try and finish in the top 6, try and win a trophy whilst we're still in the competitions. Or what's the point? Another manager can't do anything with these players. let Ange have the January transfer window, because apparently we're going to buy loads of top players, and just let him see out the season and then judge him at the end of the season, because that's only fair. Like, so Michael, the question is this: bring in a manager right now, try and save the season on the basis that it can be done, or no, this is a project, see out the project, this is the tough part, keep Ange to the end of the season, then make a decision.
I would sack him on the spot. I want this guy gone from the club, right? It's for me, it's gone beyond saving, right? I've been even, I would go as far to say, kind of defensive at the beginning of the season, defensive of Ange, right? Because I said that the ending of last season there were some issues there, whatever, right? I wanted to see this season. I wanted to see him change things, right? I thought that every single like competent person that's doing the job learns on their mistakes and improves. You know, if they care, right? They improve. And I have given him benefit of the doubt, right? I wanted to see this season. But for me, at this point, after 19 games, there is no point in giving him another 19 because I know he doesn't change. He says it himself, right? I know he's been saying it himself in his previous press conferences or whatever, right? But right now, I have evidence of him not changing the approach. I have evidence of him just doing his own thing, which doesn't work with this team, doesn't work in this league. I just don't see a point, right? I personally think it's far too gone, right? And I don't really care about him doing well in the Carabao Cup because for me, purely on league form, he should be sacked, right? Dan knows I said it on Saba's show like an hour ago, right? But for me, purely on league form, he should be sacked because with all due respect to those clubs, I'm not supporting Crystal Palace, I'm not supporting Norwich, I'm not supporting fucking, Everton to lose 16 league games in a calendar year, right? That's for me shocking, right? It's not about doing like what have you done for me lately thing and just saying, oh, he lost 4 out of last 6, so that means he's shit, he has to go, right? That's not that. We are shocking for a whole calendar year, right? We are absolutely diabolical looking at everything that has happened in 2024. It's probably one of the worst years as a Spurs fan. Like I've only supported for 6 years, right? It's definitely the worst one, but it's definitely the worst one for you guys in like 15 or 20 years, right? It's shocking how bad we are. Purely on league form, he should be sacked. And I actually think that bringing in a new manager who has more of a tactical idea gives us a better chance in Europe and in Carabao Cup to do maybe something, right? I don't expect us to go through Liverpool to the final of the Carabao, but I think we have a better chance with anyone else than this guy, right? Because with this guy, I kid you not, I think if Liverpool bring in their under 21s, they can slap us at home with how we approach the game, right? That's how I feel. For me, he should be sacked today or tomorrow or whatever.
I agree. I want him gone now as well, but I want to see what everyone else thinks and why. Dietrich, would you give him to the end of the season? I know you said at the start of the show you're Ange in now, blah, 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 but that's sarcasm. If you had the choice to get rid of Ange right now, and by the way, when I say get rid of Ange now, that doesn't mean that what Spurs go and do is they do what they've always done before. And, well... they do the Batman call for Ryan Mason because, in fact, let me add that into the question, Michael. Let me ask you this very quickly, and then go to Dietrich's. If it meant sacking Ange, but Ryan Mason takes over, would you still sack him or not?
I think we improve under Mason right now.
Wow,
I'm that fucking honest, right? What I've seen from Mason in those couple of instances, he got he will try to get results, right? He will at least do everything in his power to give us results, right? Whether it works or not, that's a different thing, right? But for me, Mason coming in right now would do everything in his power to try and even shithouse something, right? Just to improve the team and just to prove that he as an up and coming manager has something about him, right? Right now with Ange, I feel like he's doing. I don't want to say he's sabotaging the club, but some of the things he's doing with like player fitness and substitutions and game management and tactical approach, I honestly think he just doesn't give a fuck. It's his own like ego project that he is performing right now, and yeah, just I think we improve under Mason for a short term, right? Next 4 or 5 games, I think we improve under Mason. I would honestly take him as a caretaker manager until we find another manager, right? Because I don't expect us to appoint Iraola tomorrow, right? It will take a lot of time to get him out of Bournemouth, right? Iraola, just as an example, by the way, right?
Wow.
I don't expect us to.
I just
Well, you say
I just want to apologise to Dietrich because I'm sure that it was Dietrich's turn to answer the question.
No worries, go ahead.
It was, but I just wanted to, I did ask Michael, what about if Brian Mason...
Yeah,
Don't worry,
yeah,
Michael, I apologise for you.
No, Stan, ask me. Hold on. Stan, ask me the other question, right? No, I didn't
right.
butt in.
Because there's always discrimination on the show against Arabs. So.
1 minute. So the question is for Dan. Dan, if you were...
You're a dick.
I want to save the worst to last. So, Dietrich, honestly, same question goes to you. Yeah. Would you sack Ange now immediately, even if that means Ryan Mason comes in, or would you only sack him if we've got the next manager ready to come in, or would you let Ange have to the end of the season? So there's 3 possible scenarios.
Look, I said in the beginning you thought I was being sarcastic. I don't want to sack him. I'm being dead serious. I'm not lying. I want to keep Ange.
But why? Why is that?
No, because like he's doing everything that Spurs fans were asking. Play entertaining football, and that's what he's doing. So why should we sack him? Nobody's trying to protest. Nobody's trying to scream.
Okay, but it's not about the fans. It's about you and what you want. Forget the fans.
No.
What would you do?
What I want is
you've never given a crap about the fans, Dietrich, right? So
no. I want.
If this was your
act like you do.
What right?
Okay,
you're not getting off that easily.
Okay. What I want is for him to burn the club. So I would keep him until the end of the season. That's what I want. Because if you look at all the managers that are available, none of them are good enough. Even the guy that we're linked with, Terzic, he's even worse than Ange. I'm not even joking. The guy that was at Dortmund, he's even worse.
Dietrich, if we had the next manager that was better, though, it's got to be better. Clearly,
we're never gonna do any better than Ange. There's not gonna be better.
That's not true.
On.
I disagree. No.
There's no manager that's been worse than.
I don't want to see. No. I'm being dead ass. I don't want to see Potter. I don't want to see Areola. I don't want to see these guys.
Why? Why do you see Areola?
No, wait.
Hold on. Why not?
I want to. No. If it's like a drug. If you gave me Conte and Mourinho, I want the same level. Those are the managers I want to see at Spurs.
They're not going to work at Spurs because they
that's my point. So
they come with an ego bigger than Levy's, and Levy's just can't handle someone that's better than him.
That's what I want. So any manager that are not at this level, for example, Gasperini, Inzaghi, Mourinho, Conte, I don't want to see it. I don't want to see any other managers at Spurs. And that's
right.
my
So even if we got a better manager than Ange, you still don't want that on the basis that the better manager isn't elite.
No. If he's not elite, I don't want to see him. Because that's the
only Ange is an elite, so why stick with him?
Well, because I want him to burn the club. No, because I want him to burn the club.
Right, so yours is a protest vote. Because you want to keep Ange to crash the club, basically.
Exactly. Because if we let's say we get Areola or any manager, we're gonna get a manager bounce, and we're gonna probably win like the next 10 games. I don't want to see that.
Do you know what? I would actually call you an idiot, but I can't because I actually spoke to a few fans today who said the same thing as you. No, keep him. Let the thing rot. I actually spoke to fans today that said that to me, so I'm not going to call you an idiot because there's actually other fans who've got the same thinking.
So if other friends didn't say that, you will call me an idiot. That's pretty nice.
Yeah, I would.
No, you said you won't.
Racist.
No, he's right. He's right. If those other fans I didn't speak to today, I'd absolutely call an idiot, but I can't because I didn't call them idiots. So. All right, listen. Fair enough, man. Every fan's got their thinking on it. Dan, sack Ange on the basis that we bring in a better manager. Sack Ange, even if it's Ryan Mason, interim, or keep him to the end of the season and figure out what we do next.
You know what? With what Dietrich just said, personal opinion, I think he's actually made a good point. I think he's actually made a good point. If I'm going to be totally honest,
Lord of mercy.
fuck it, let it rock, let it rock. Let Levy have to stand there and watch this whole thing fall to pieces. And I can actually understand the point he's getting at. And it's tempting, but I'm not going to go that far. And then on the other point you made, that you'd want someone like Conte, Mourinho, whatever, Dietrich's, mate, you're just chasing the dragon, if you get what I mean. It's not going to happen. And with that one, it's he's got to go yesterday. This fella has got to go. He has not got a clue what he is doing on that pitch. Or he has, but only his way. And the fact that he just keeps going on with the aspect of that he will not adapt, he's not going to do it. I cannot back this man in any means or manner. And he's got to go. I don't think there's that much quality out there, but I really cannot see worse than him. If we was to hang on to Ryan Mason till the end of the season even, I would take that. I would even go so low as to say I would take Gareth Southgate for 6 months, nothing more, not do a turbo wiener and take him on for another season. But I would rather have Southgate for the next 6 months because I think he is better for the players we got than carry on with Ange. That is how low I think of Ange. This man has got to go yesterday. No matter what, I don't care if we got semi-finals coming up. We ain't going to do Liverpool over 2 rounds. If it was 1 cup and if it was 1 round, anything can happen. But over 2 legs, we are not doing Liverpool. And this man's got to go. End of. No ifs or buts.
Even, yeah, I'll let you come back in, Dietrich.
Yeah.
Dan, is that even if Ryan Mason steps in?
I just said let Ryan Mason step in for the 6 months. Any manager that comes in now is going to have a severe problem with injuries we have got. Yeah, we have got injuries. And it will take them a little while to rebuild something. But I even think Ryan Mason could come in and say, right, bang, 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 change the formation or at least change the system as such and start getting the team playing.
But the last two times Mason came in, we actually regressed.
Yeah, well, we're not going to regress.
Guys, whoever's got TV on, can they turn it down? Because all I can hear is the word Dix and Johnny. Sorry, man. I don't know what movie you lot are watching.
I don't think he can regress the players any more than they have done. I honestly don't think Ryan Mason could. I really don't think he could. He's got to go. One way or another, this man has got to go.
All right, fair enough. So Dan's he just wants him out. I just want to quickly do a super chat here. A user says, rather put bins in my eyeballs than have Shitegate. I agree. I don't want fucking Gareth Southgate near this club. Nuno, big up to Richard. Nuno got sacked for way less than Angelos. Big up to this channel as well. Just discovered it tonight. Thank you, Richard. Thanks for super chatting as well. Love hearing Spurs fans moan. Oh, you're in the right place. I'll give you that. And Nikki, I just want to address you. And I know this is a genuine message. You're not trying to troll us. Nikki says, he says, don't shoot me for saying this, but them lot down the road went through 2 8th place finishes before it turned. Do we write it out? All I'll say to this, Nikki, you're right. But he won an FA Cup in 6 months with a squad of players he didn't want because he got rid of all of them. So he proved with things he doesn't want, he can win silverware. So he put credit in the bank. Also, in the first 12 months, even the first 24 months of Arteta's reign, they never spent £350 million on players. Ange has had the most backing of any new manager I've ever seen in the Premier League. And he's put no credit in the bank. So I think there's evidence to suggest why they stuck with Arteta. With Ange, I don't know. So, but look, everyone's allowed their views.
Also, quickly to add on top of that, right? They've also, after those 2 8th place finishes, they invested a shitload of money to buy established like senior players, right? Instead of doing this Project You bullshit with one first teamer, right? So you can't really mirror that situation to what's going on right now with Spurs, right? That us going 14th, 8th doesn't mean that we will suddenly then go to 5th and challenging for the title, right? We might as well regress. You have to take it on individual basis. You have to analyze, the situation. I really hate this, like, this vision of, oh, it worked there, so it will work here, right? Oh, look at Pep, he won Carabao Cup in his first season, and so did Ten Hag, right? So it means Ten Hag has to work. No, it doesn't, right? It's not as easy as that. And listen, again, not shooting the messenger. Actually, a good question. I just think I'm seeing this logic all over the internet, right? Saying, "Oh, look at them lot. They had this period when they haven't won in 10, whatever, right? But it worked for them, so it will work for us." No, it doesn't work that way, right? It's not as simple as that.
Put the heating on because the heating.
Arteta also plays a system that has been proven to work at the highest levels. He doesn't claim that he's never going to change, no matter if it doesn't work. He doesn't say we're not going to do what the other teams that have success do because we don't want to play the style that doesn't have success. He doesn't say I'm not going to use a 6, even though every successful team in the world uses a 6. Like there's this whole thing about Arteta. It acts as if it's the same thing when people say just give him time because somebody else had time, or when people say, well, Harry Kane had shitty transfers, so that or loan spells, so that means anybody else that has shitty loan spells is going to come good. Like just because you say that somebody else did something the same doesn't mean that the same outcome is going to happen, right? Ange doesn't play the same style of a successful way. Giving him more time isn't going to change that fundamental fact of why things don't work with him. And he's told us he isn't going to change that style. He isn't going to even make small changes and shows us that all the time. So just saying like, let's give him time or this is what Arteta did, it doesn't matter because it's not going to improve anything.
Listen, whilst you're saying that, and I agree, by the way, what would you do? Would you sack Ange even if it means Mason? Would you sack Ange only if we get a better manager in? Or would you wait to the end of the season until we can properly figure out what to do next?
I would sack him now. I would have sacked him yesterday. I mean, I would have never hired him. I would sack him now. And if all it means is that we get Mason, as much as I hate Mason and as much as I think that he has no clue, the one thing I think he'll do is the safest thing possible. He'll put out a basic lineup that uses players where they should be used. And as bad as Ange is, that's an upgrade. It's just doing things that make sense. And that's what I think he'll do. He's not going to do stupid things. He doesn't think that he's smarter than the rest of the Premier League managers. He doesn't think that he's better than the Premier League. He's going to do the safest basic things. And right now, just doing basic things is an upgrade on what we're getting.
Fair play. Before I go to Maz, a user again with a super chat. What you mean, Mason, come in? He's part of the problem. I agree, he is part of the problem. Conj, channel member for 6 months. And Enoch out, Eddie, I already tore you to pieces the other night. I'm happy to do it again, my friend. By the way, I'm being a little bit sarcastic. Tottenham away, we're in a semi-final of League Cup and we are still in the playoff in Europe. When are you going to give Ange credit for that? I do not give credit to getting to a semi-final. My standards are higher than that. If you want to look at that as a celebration, that's where you're at. And we have fallen out of the top 8 automatic qualifying positions in Europe. We have dropped out of it. You want me to also celebrate that? Mate, my standards are better than that, Eddie. Sorry, bro. But yeah, if you want to enjoy that, you're free to do it. Every fan's allowed to celebrate how they want. Maz, Ange out immediately, even if it means Ryan Mason. Ange out only if we bring in a quality manager or someone that we know is better, or just keep him here to the end of the season and wait and see what we're going to do come end of year. What would be your choice out of those 3?
Look, I'm not a Ryan Mason's biggest fan. I'm not happy that he's at the club purely from a perspective that I think he should be trying to progress his own career. And I don't think him staying at Spurs and being Batman every time a manager gets sacked really is doing him any good or his reputation any good. He had an opportunity to go and manage another club. Was it this season or was it last season? I can't remember now. And he refused. He stayed here, or he never got the job, or whatever it is. And if he did refuse it, if that is true, then that just speaks volumes as to his ambition. However, I actually think he would probably do a better job than Ange, assuming that he changes Ange's tactics and doesn't try and carry them on like he did when Conte was sacked and what was his name? Can't remember his name now. Stellini. Stellini carried on Conte's tactics, and then when Mason took over, he carried on that same style. So if he comes in and he done what he done after Jose, and just changed it up, then I think that'll be a lot better for him. So I'm a little bit conflicted, because I do partly mean, I know I've been sarcastic a lot today, but I do actually partly mean that I think I'd actually miss Ange's post-match press conferences, because I actually find them now really amusing. It's happened, because he's been getting it for quite a while. I actually find his post-match press conferences really amusing. So I will miss those. But yeah,
Maz,
get rid of him now. Get Mason in.
Maz, when I said earlier on, I've discovered Japanese whiskey during this troubled time, and I've been drinking and just trying to drown my sorrows. What are you drinking?
Lots of different types of whiskies.
I was just you enjoyed Ange's interview, so clearly you must be drinking something. Just interested in what you're drinking.
Let's break it down. I mean, he lies a lot, which is quite funny, and because people lap it up. He's also a comedian. He's really sarcastic to the journalist, which is a form of comedy, isn't it? Right, a little bit of dry sense of humor and all that sort of stuff. He's Australian, so he says mate a lot, which is sort of funny in the UK. He gets irate really easy when you question his winning record. So I mean, it's legit points, right? I mean,
we are clutching at straws at the moment. I think we are so clutching at straws.
Do you actually think he lies?
And I find it funny that he doesn't look at the interviewer. He always looks at the floor.
Yeah,
That's
but I think there's a different. No, take that one away. I think there's a different reason for that. Believe it at that. Yeah. Do you actually think he lies a lot, or do you actually genuinely believes what he's saying? Because there are some people out there that can chat a hell of a lot of BS, but they actually believe what they're saying. So is it actually a natural bullshit, or does he actually believe it? Same as I personally believe, he believes these tactics can do it.
I think he's deluded. I think he's deluded.
So he's not lying, and he actually believes it.
I think he's absolutely fucking deluded.
Well, the problem is, Dan, he says things with such conviction, and he gets so angry about things that you can't. You have to take him, as you've said, you have to take him for his word. So
I totally get it, but the point I was asking is he actually bullshitting his way through it, or trying to, and just hearing that, or does he actually believe it himself? Is he that much of a mess?
I think he believes it. I think he believes it. I actually think he believes.
I think he's serious.
So he's not lying then. So he's not lying.
In that way, no.
No, it doesn't mean he's not a lie. He doesn't. Maybe he doesn't know he's lying.
Right, but a lie is when you do it intentionally.
This is getting too deep.
A lie is when you chat bullshit intentionally.
This is Michael therapy levels now.
This is where I'm trying to actually work out.
I'm going to get to Michael later on in the show.
A lie is where you intentionally bullshit something, isn't it? A lie is when you do it.
I'm not the one talking about speed porn on group chats. Come on.
Right,
let me you watch.
Let me bring in Ian. I'm going to bring in Ian now, all right? Because I can see where this is going.
Speaking of speed porn.
Ian, to bring you up to speed. So we started the show talking about how angry I was about no protests, about no chance of Levy out in the stadium, and how this fan base, I can't believe what I'm watching and listening, and this acceptance of what's going on. Then we went on to talking about a lot of stats which are damaging, and they're getting worse regarding Ange and Tottenham. And then I asked the question, and you can come in on this. And by the way, hello. Good to have you on, Ian.
Good evening, all, and all viewers. How are we doing tonight?
Buzzing. Absolutely. But we're living the dream, mate. Living the dream. So the question is, Ian, would you sack Ange right now, even if it means Ryan Mason comes in? would you sack Ange right now, but only if we've got the next manager in line ready to go? Or would you just see out this season, whether it's because you want to wait to the summer to sort out this mess, or because you just want the whole thing to rot because that's the only language our fans understand? So out of those three options, which one would you pick?
Ideally, and I'm sure the club are sounding out other managers at the moment, because the team's in free fall. We're exactly halfway through the season, got 24 points. So that equates to 48 over the season, which has got to be the lowest, I think, for I can't remember how long. Maybe someone I've not checked. Maybe someone who's watching can check up and come back and let us know. Was it the relegation season in '77? I don't know. We've still got to go to Villa, Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool. I mean, God, we've got some horrendous away games to come in the second half of the season. I thought it was a bit sad today. I was having a chat with three pals at half time, and they all said, it just feels that everyone's fed up with Levy, everyone's fed up with Ange, everyone's fed up with the football we're watching. There just didn't seem to be any spark at the ground today. The fans, absolutely right. That's what I sent through. I mean, that sums it up, doesn't it? And for me, yes, to come back to your question still, ideally bring in somebody. They've got to give it some proper thought. Munn's just brought his pal in, his Aussie pal, without any due diligence, looking at the way that Ange, looking at the style of football, looking at the type of players he buys, looking at the training schedules. I mean, all of this is part of the due diligence, excuse me, that should have been carried out before he was appointed. And I blame Levy and Munn because they're clueless. It's the blind leading the blind. And they brought this guy in who is quite obviously unsuited to Premier League football. And for me, I think we would probably do better even with Mason if Ange went. It's not ideal, but it is the better option for me than keeping him for the rest of the season. I caught little bits and pieces of Liverpool tonight. I mean, what are they going to do to us next week? Seriously,
there's fans that say
same thing they already did this season. Quickly.
Go, Michael.
Still, just to answer Ian, right? In 07-08, we finished on 46 points, and in 03-04, we finished on 45. So, and in that season, we finished 14th, and in the 07-08 season, we finished like 9th with 40, less than 48 points, right? So we are basically on
11th, I think, Michael.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Wait, just give me a second.
Well, they say 40 points,
11.
right? 40 points is the magic marker to avoid relegation. Yeah. So if we can get to 40,
over that, right?
We can stay in the Premier League. I think that should be the target now. Just get to 40. Listen, Man United and Spurs, we're battling for that relegation spot, man. It's between Spurs and Man United at the moment. It's unbelievable. But so Ian, you would then get rid of Ange, even if it meant Ryan Mason coming in then as an interim?
I think I would. I think that if I remember talking to a customer of mine and just saying to him, "What do you do when you have a problem at work?" And he said, "I look for three options. If A doesn't work, go to B. B doesn't work, go to C. Virtually all the time, one of those three options resolves the problem." Ange isn't even interested in doing that, and for me, that's unacceptable. There are 60,000 people in the stadium. Forget the fact what he owes his employers. He's got to get the best possible results from the team that he's got, and he's not doing that. And you cannot actually say, "Do you know what? I've got a problem. It's not working, but I'm not going to change," because that is a sackable offence. Can you imagine somebody else on sales? For a massive company, this is a £500 million business plus. probably going to be more like 600-700 million when the figures come out. And you've got somebody in charge of the first team who will not look at a problem and try and solve it. I think it's staggering, really. It really is. So for me, he's got to go. He's really got to go. And everybody's, I know we're all fed up with this constant managerial merry-go-rounds that is Enoch's Tottenham. But I think I was talking last week, do we leave it and leave it and leave it, and then the pressure gets put onto Levy? But the pressure should still be put onto Levy because it's another failure on his list.
Ian, based on what you just said, right? Based on what you just said. By the way, Michael just informed us finishing on 48 points would be our third worst season since the year 2000. That's pretty special. Based on what you just said, then, Ian, and everyone else on the panel. Big up to Boise. I'm going to get everyone to answer this question. Thanks for the super chat. Do you think sacking Ange now will get more fans on board to try and get Levy out once and for all?
Yes, because you'll have the Ange cult that will be really pissed. Because you'll have the Ange cult that will be really pissed off with Levy.
The Ange cult.
They will.
I agree with you.
No, because our fans don't want change. They'll just latch on to the new guy and tell us why he's amazing.
No. Scott, have you ever known fans at our club to give this much what's the word?
Leeway.
Well, yeah, as good as any. To give this much leeway to a manager who's doing such a bad job.
I don't think that a lot of the people that do that are actually fans of the club that'll stay here that long. Like, look around how many here of us have said it, right? None of us give him that much leeway. Lots of other people aren't giving him leeway. I think a lot of that leeway is people that aren't going to be sticking around that much. I just think if Harry Kane left because we weren't winning things and fans said we would get better without him, I just have a hard time thinking that Ange leaving. Like I'll keep banging that drum. I don't think fans care enough.
You're probably right. I think you're right.
That's what that's that. You know what? Like we've talked about it. I think you agree. If Harry Kane leaving didn't even get us upset and fans actually said that we'd be better, it's hard for me to see fans caring. If Poch leaving, that should have been a trigger. Yeah. Not backing Jose should have been the trigger. Not backing Conte should have been the trigger. And none of these things seem to be the trigger. For me, I'm just thinking that I don't think there is any trigger that's going to work for our fans.
Conte had a rant, and then 3 or 4 weeks later, we're 5 down in 20 minutes at Newcastle. I mean, and still nothing. As I said, I mean, anyone who follows me on Twitter, I've been quite vocal in the last few days. The fan base are pathetic. They're absolutely pathetic. I don't think there aren't enough people that care like there were 25 years ago, when the Tottenham Action Group, all pulled together, and there were 5,000-10,000 outside the main gates protesting every single match. I know everything's changed. People have changed. Social media's involved now, whereas the guy that was running it had contacts in the press, and everything will come out in the press about it via his communiques. But I don't get it. This is the most fantastic club. We have an owner that is running the club into the ground, and every single year that goes by, as a footballing force, we are becoming less important globally and domestically, and people don't care enough to see this.
Ian, do you know what? Right, I'm gonna massively back you up on this one. So I'm in a couple of WhatsApp groups with other coaches. They're Man United, some of them Liverpool and Arsenal and whatnot. And I'm always kind of the small fish in the pond because they have won the most trophies. And they always say to me, "Yeah, but you've always been shit. You're a nothing club." And I said, "No, you're too young to know," because I'm one of the oldest in the group. They always say to me, "Come on, man, Spurs have always been shit. You're kidding yourself. Look what Levy's done for you." And I say to them, "Look, let me just educate you bastards, because you piss me right off every time you come for me on this one, right? And I just get so wound up with it. We were a club that on average used to win 2 trophies every 10 years. That's the average since 1900. So we were never a Bayern Munich, a Man United, but every 10 years, at least 2 trophies. And that made us a team that people said, you know what, that's a good club. That's a big club. They win silverware this lot. And we were the first team to ever do the double. We were the first team to ever in England win a European trophy. We were the first team to ever bring over foreign players for £1 million. And we are a club of first. We are a team that invented tiki-taka, push and run, and they're on.
Yeah.
This club has got history, and this club is big. And I totally back you up on this. But this is the problem. Since these wank stains have taken over this club, what they've done is they have slowly but surely taken bit by bit, brick by brick, their history apart and redefined us as this entertainment, money-making, this is the future business spectacle. Don't worry about being glorious. You don't want that. You just want to enjoy the experience. And a lot of newer fans, they look at that and they don't know this. And then some that have got a little bit of knowledge will say, yeah, but you were shit in the 90s. And I always say this to them. We were shit in the 90s and we won 2 trophies, just like Arsenal were shit for the last 10 years of Wenger, but you still picked up 3 FA Cups. Why do you compare?
Still, 4 other semi-finals.
Well, I just focus on the trophies because otherwise we get up into these arguments over, semis and quarters. And I say to them this, why do you compare 25 years of Levy and Enoch to 10 years of Sugar? Where's the balance and where's the fairness in that? You've given this ownership 3 decades to get it right, but you're going to measure that against 10 years of Sugar. Why don't you measure the 25 years before Enoch and Levy and the 25 years of Enoch and Levy? And when you do that comparison, what you see is this. Our average league position has gone up by 1.5 places. So in 25 years, they've moved us from 8th to on average 6.5, where we finished in the league. In 25 years, they have finished in the top 4 once more than the last 25 years. And trophies, we are down 80%. In the last 25 years, remember, on average, every 20 years, win 2 trophies. Well,
7 trophies still?
It's 5. No, it's 5. It's 5.
It's 5, isn't it? It's 5.
But the point is, that's the average. They've destroyed that. And when I say this to them, they're like, oh, yeah, but, back in black and white. I'm like, well, hold on. Then if you're going to say to me, that's black and white, can we get rid of the 10 trophies Arsenal won in the 1930s? Can we get rid of the trophies Man United won in black and white? Can we do that as well? And then they begin to realize, hold on a minute. It is Levy and Enoch. But because they've gone so far in the argument with me, they can't admit it. They can't fucking admit that Levy and Enoch are a poison. And Ian, I totally agree with you on this. 100%.
Do you know where I think it actually started going wrong? I think it started going wrong when Venables left at the end of the 93 season. He had lined up coming in that summer, I was told, Tim Flowers, Des Walker and Roy Keane were all coming in 93. Can you imagine what a side we'd have had?
Who did we sign?
I can't even think.
Andy Reid.
We ended up in Sugar's defence.
Gordon Jury.
In Sugar's defence in the 90s, we ended up bringing in Klinsmann twice.
Ronnie Rosenthal.
Ginola. The big mistake. Spurs and Arsenal mid-90s were very level pegging, where when Riot joined. The one big mistake that Sugar made was not taking Dennis Bergkamp when he was offered to Spurs. And when Bergkamp joined, Spurs went down and Arsenal went up. And it took us till Poch before we could get back in front of them. And we still, unfortunately, didn't win trophies. And they were winning trophies even when they were below us. And so Sugar sold to Enoch. He sold 29 of his 42% shares. I think he sold the rest 7 years later in 2007. And I think Enoch had they were quite open and honest about it. They actually said, we're in the football, there's quotes, we're in the football business just to make, because we see it as a way of making a lot of money. So no one can say they haven't been straight about it. What I don't get and understand is that this is such a great club and they are just killing the club. They've ripped the soul out of this club. You know, and I went down and I met Johnny before the game about 2:00. I'm walking past, walking round, and there's people, you know, by 125 where that guy Black is playing his guitar and they're all singing Ange Postecoglou and you just
Newsstand.
Just mad. It's you know, do people not want success? It's, to me, it's just like,
no, they don't.
Yeah, they go there for a sing song, they go there for a few drinks. You know, okay, you got a bit of football, and it's a social.
If I could quickly, right, from a foreigner's perspective, right, I have friends of mine who aren't really into football, right, legitimately thinking that we have no trophies ever, right, because you know they don't know history of English clubs, whatever. They support different leagues, right. I have to tell them that Tottenham won like 26 trophies if you want to count the Community Shields, right? I think it's 25 or 26. If I'm not mistaken, 18 without the Community Shields, right? I have to tell them that, right? And then there is the argument of, oh, whoever cares about the, you know, the league in the 60s, right? But then the argument that Stel made, right? Then why do we care about other clubs and their trophies, right? Because if you really want to do what have you done for me lately, right? Then Arsenal are trophyless in 5 years, right? Should we banter them for that? Like, but you know, it's so infuriating because you know when I got into supporting Spurs, I checked the history. I got to know plenty of beautiful things about the club, plenty of things that Stel have mentioned, right? And they are irrelevant pretty much because of how we are doing right now, right? Nobody's treating us seriously in any shape or form because on one hand, why should they, right? Why should they treat us as a serious, you know, as a serious club, a club that doesn't want to win trophies? And their own fan base doesn't want to win trophies, right? I don't want to go into another rant about the fan base too, right? Because I'm pretty sure I got demonetized after Liverpool, right, with my rant. But it's just infuriating, right? We have a club that used to win beautiful things, right? And we have a club that has amazing history, and it's not even like even fans don't want to treat this history with respect it deserves. It's infuriating.
I do think, Mike. I think it'll change, but I think when we've got new owners that come in, people that are dynamic, people that want success for the football club, and I think if Phoenix sold at whatever stage they do so, I'm sure they will. There will be such a buzz around the place that this club hopefully will just take off again. It is a sleeping giant.
Quick thing on what you said.
I hope you're right, Ian. But
about Dennis Bergkamp, I disagree with you on that to an extent. You're only saying that now because of how good he ended up. If you actually look at him in Inter Milan, he was shit. He was piss poor at Inter Milan. Yeah, that is why he got offered out, and because he refused to get on a plane. So in that aspect, I don't hold it. But if I remember right, we got offered 2 others from Holland as well. I can't. Who was the other one who played for Arsenal? The proper double quick one.
Overmars.
Yes, that is one we should have snapped up because he was doing well. But Dennis Bergkamp, I can't hold that one because you're basically judging it on how he ended up. At the time, if you look on his records at Inter Milan, he was shockingly bad. So on that one, I don't hold it. Like I said, you're just holding it.
But Inter Milan weren't very good in that era either, though.
They were what I'd say.
It was AC Milan's era, wasn't it?
Yeah, but they were still a top 6, top 5 team. When he went there for that, he was bad. He was not good at all, and he didn't get on with the manager. Yeah. But with the Overmars one, we should have snapped him up because he was doing good at the time. The other thing with what you're saying, Ian. Sorry, Matt. Finish this bit. I agree with what you're saying. We're a sleeping giant, basically. Well, sleeping. I mean, more of a coma, if you actually want to get detailed with it, and. We've got everything. Everything is there for the taking. Whoever comes in hasn't even got to worry about that side. Whatever businessman they pick to come in can just say, there you go, deal with that crap. Really, even though it's expensive, they've just got to come in and sort out the players and the wages, which is relatively cheaper than having to buy a new stadium, new training grounds, new everything else and stuff like that. So even though the club will cost money, in one aspect, they've already got that side sorted out, the double expensive side. Building a new stadium is much more expensive than building a team. I'm not saying it wouldn't cost serious money, but there's a big difference there. And I think you're right on that. If someone comes in and they've got the money to buy the club, as all they've actually got to worry about is the football, because the rest of it is already on the plate.
Do we agree that most likely it's the manager that's going to go before the owners? Do we agree?
Oh yeah, definitely.
For
By
sure.
the nature of
For sure.
So
Obviously.
on that basis, right? On that basis, who would you like to see as manager? Because Jason asks this question. Big up, Jason. What do you think of the Terzic links? And if we're trying to hire him, would that perhaps have an effect on how the team performs on the pitch? So do you think the pitch know there's someone else coming in? And I guess the question is, what about Terzic? What do you think of that?
Can I-
Also, big up to I'll come to you first, Dietrich.
Yeah.
And also big up to Robez for his super sticker. Swifty, I'll come to your super chat at the end because your one is tied up with how we finished tonight's show. Yeah, I haven't forgotten. Yes, Dietrich, Terzic, what do you think?
Yeah, just to answer on Terzic, if you look at his accomplishments at Dortmund, like the way he... Oh, he just left. Wow. Yeah, so...
Bye-bye, Steph.
Yeah, bye-bye. So you went to the Champions League final with Dortmund and then won a cup, if I'm not mistaken. It's like the FA Cup equivalent in Germany. If I'm telling you right now, if you watch Dortmund playing, he's not a good manager. He is stubborn and he loves to get into a fight with his players. And if you ask any Dortmund fan, they are going to tell you he's not a good man manager. Do you know we always complain about Postecoglou not making subs early? He doesn't even make subs. He doesn't even use young players. So how are we going to use Archie Gray, Bergvall, Mikey Moore? Even Vuskovic is going to come next season. He's not going to use them. So Terzic, I'm telling you this right now, he's not the right manager for us. And with the squad we have. But did he
So
do
who
well
would
at
you-
Dortmund? Yes.
Who would you pick then, Dietrich? Who's your choice?
For me, the best one that works on a tight budget and gets the best out of the players is Gasperini. He doesn't even need players for 40 million. He
But
just
it's
needs
not,
to give.
he's not going to leave though, is he? He's not.
No,
available.
you get an intern, and then in the summer you try to convince him to come to Spurs. That's the only way you can get him. But Gasperini, I think he would join Spurs.
Did they win, by the way, Atalanta? Are they still top?
Yeah, I think they're second.
The
They're
top.
second.
Yeah,
No,
but
not
Inter
second.
have a game in hand, right? Inter have a game
Yes.
in hand, but still, like they are top of the Serie A, right? But to follow up on
Listen,
Dietrich's, right?
They're in a
think-
title race. They're in a title
Yeah.
race.
Yeah, they're in a title.
Yeah, to follow up on Dietrich's, right? I actually think the best course of action right now, probably with what's available on the transfer manager market, right, would be to sack Ange, appoint an interim, whoever it is, right? But it doesn't have to be Mason, right? There are plenty of other managers who would probably agree to a half-year contract, right? Just to
Redknapp or
change.
Glenn Hoddle.
Yeah, Redknapp, Glenn Hoddle, like guys like that, right? Give them until the end of the season to stabilize the ship. Just just make it respectable, right? Because right now it's shambolic, and in the summer to appoint a proper manager, right? Because right now the only thing I'm fearing now is if we sack Ange, we will go for whoever is like out there on the market, because Levy has already proven to us that he doesn't really want to buy out managers, right? The same thing happened with Slot. We were supposed to buy out Slot for like a couple million euros, if I remember correctly. He didn't do that, right? So I doubt he would buy out. Yeah, like 15, whatever, right? But
yeah,
I'm talking like whatever, 15 million. What's that, right? That's
it's a bit of a difference between 2
Yeah.
million, though, isn't it?
Yeah, but the point is that I would fear that we wouldn't get like Silva, right now, because Bournemouth or Fulham would demand us to pay an X amount of money. We wouldn't, and we would end up with Potter or Southgate or someone like that, right? So that's I think the best course of action would be to sack him now, get an interim, and in the summer sign a proper manager, right? And it also gives them a lot of time to actually like do their research, right? Whether I trust them with the research, that's a different thing, right? Because I'm not necessarily sure if I trust them with but they at least have a chance to prepare, right?
I think, can I come in on this? I think if you look at Enix managers, I think we all agree, okay, he didn't win a trophy like Ramos did. I don't think anybody would put Ramos in front of Pochettino. And the closest manager I mean, Pochettino managed to nearly work a miracle at Spurs. And yes, he came in, inherited quite a few good players that Paul Mitchell had brought in. That was also before the transfer market had gone berserk with the Neymar and Mbappe deals just taking prices through the roof. But for me, the closest manager to Poch, who speaks English, who knows the Premier League, is the Bournemouth guy, Areola.
It does sound like it. I mean, I can't vouch on it too much, knowing much about him. I'm more going by what I've seen Bournemouth do and also what other people have described him. So I'm just sort of going by what people have said here, not my own knowledge on it. It does actually sound like a logical one to go for.
I mean,
Can I ask you, Ian?
Can I say Areola is the perfect manager for Spurs right now? And I'll tell you why. When I looked into Arne Slot, for me, I said that's the guy I want at Spurs. And are we going to win the league under Arne Slot? No. Will we be a much better team? Yeah, I do think that would have happened. With Areola, I don't think he wins the league. I don't think any Spurs manager wins the league whilst leaving Ineke here, because they'll never do what's required. Maybe a cup if we're lucky. The reason I want Areola is this. Number one, he plays a 4-3-3, same system as us, which isn't much of a transition, but he plays the fullbacks as overlapping fullbacks. And he can switch to a 4-3-2-1, which is a slightly more pragmatic system.
Plays with a 6 or a DM, whatever.
Plays the 6, but it's still an attacking system. So he can be pragmatic whilst not being negligent of the attack. So from a tactical perspective, he can adapt. Secondly, he's got 4 players in his squad under the age of 21, and one of them is a centre-back. He can develop young players better than what I'm seeing Ange develop young players. Number 3, when Poch joined us, he had Premier League experience, was in his mid-40s, so he's not young. He's got some experience or something about him, dynamic, progressive. He's the same age as when Poch first joined us, and guess what? He's got Premier League experience. Today, he took Bournemouth away to Fulham, the most informed team in the league, matched them, got a draw. And on top of that, Solanke's best ever season, ever, was at Bournemouth, scoring 19 goals. And who was the manager?
And this is why your whole
Areola.
argument gets discredited.
No. You've been shaking your head the whole time because I'm speaking facts and you're going to struggle with this. And the reality is we're not going to sell Solanke. He's not going anywhere. Everything about Areola says you suit Spurs right now. The negatives of Areola are 2 things. One, he's not proven in European football juggling midweek and Premier League, but nor was Poch before he came to us. And the other thing about Areola, eventually Levy will fuck him like he does everyone, which is a negative. He's not going to stand up to Levy. Only Conte's done that. So when I look at it from a balanced perspective, what are the negatives? What are the pros? What other manager are we realistically going to afford to bring to Spurs that we could poach from a smaller club to Spurs? For me, Areola is the perfect manager for Spurs right now, hands down. That's
right. And let me come in. No, you
just
can't.
Quickly.
Let me come in.
No, yeah, I can.
No,
I can.
Let Maz waffle.
No. Go on, Dietrich. No, because Dietrich doesn't speak much when he.
Yeah, I don't speak much. Yeah, thank you.
There's a reason.
You're a gentleman. You're a gentleman.
There's a reason.
No, I just want to say, you guys complain about not getting any. You guys complain about not getting any. We don't win trophies or anything. Why would you want to get Areola?
Dietrich, no one's winning trophies with Levy.
No.
No one's winning trophies with Levy.
No, wait.
I told you. No one's winning trophies with Levy. Nobody.
No, I'm not saying we're gonna win the league or the Europa. I'm saying the simple cups. I want someone that I can trust, like Mourinho, for example. Mourinho, I trusted him.
Fine. I'll tell you, Dietrich, you don't listen to the words I use. A manager who we can actually prize to this club. We are never attracting an elite manager again whilst Levy is here. It's never happening. So we are stuck. As a fan base, we are fucked royally whilst Levy is here. So we've got to go for the best we can get. And the best is a top 4 race and the occasional semi-final, if we're lucky, a cup final. For me, listen, when Areola was the manager of Mirandes, he got them to the semi-final of the Spanish Cup, the second time in their entire history, and any manager's ever done that. When he went to Rayo Vallecano, he got them to their second ever quarter-final of a cup. This guy overperforms. He had Bournemouth 6th. He overperforms.
Okay,
That's the
just
best
to-
we're going to get. Do you think
Okay,
we
just
can
to
do
counter-
better than a manager like that?
just to counter,
Realistically,
no,
no manager wants to work for Levy. They
because I
fucking
can
hate
just
this guy.
no, I can just counter two things. First of all, did you
Okay.
look at the Bournemouth, the players they bought? We don't have the scouting like they have. They buy like phenomenal players.
Dietrich, we've
Look at
got good enough players that are playing incorrectly. Archie Gray's not a fucking centre back. Our inverted fullbacks are not inverted fullbacks. The high line, we don't have to be a high line all the time. Solanke, Geese, today, did I call you Geese? Today, Solanke was playing in our half or on the halfway line so much. He wasn't doing that at Bournemouth under Iriola's system. He played as the striker.
Correct.
Solanke doesn't play as a bloody striker at Spurs. It's
But
ridiculous.
that's my point. But this is why I want I want a manager like Gasperini, because look at what he
We're
does.
not
He's
going to get
gonna
Gasperini, bro.
But
He's not
Gasperini
coming
isn't
to
coming
Spurs.
to
and
England.
No
we're
way.
bigger than Atalanta. We're bigger.
Yeah, but they are
Gasperini,
in
he
a-
doesn't speak English and he's a senior citizen.
How do you know?
He's
How do
not
you know he
leaving
doesn't know how to
Atalanta.
speak English?
Dietrich,
How do you know?
Dietrich, I think most
He
fans
said
would
it many
agree.
times in interviews. It's been
D-
reported
Dietrich.
in Italy. He doesn't speak English.
Dietrich, you're allowed to believe if you believe Gasperini would come, you're allowed to believe that. I think most Spurs fans would agree. We are not getting Gasperini.
And
He's
you
too-
believe most Spurs fans?
Exactly. Thank you.
No,
Thank
in
you,
terms
Mr.
of
John.
no, hold
Gasperini
on.
would be amazing.
On-
He'd be
on
perfect,
their
but he's
opinion-
not leaving Atalanta.
Maz, if you asked every Spurs fan, can Spurs attract an elite manager back to this club under Levy? I think everyone would say yes, including you. They would say no, we can't, including you.
That's why I said
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't. I think you're going to.
Can we get Ancelotti? Can we get Zinedine Zidane? Do you think we can attract those managers?
No,
After
I think those.
No. These
So
ones.
here's my
exactly,
point,
Maz.
right?
Exactly.
No,
Iriola is the
yeah,
level
well-
for us now. That's our level.
Okay, so if we don't win any trophies, then don't complain.
It's not. No,
I'm not going to
take it out.
complain because I know we're not winning
Okay.
them. I want
Oh.
Levy
Okay, that's
out.
fine.
I want
Okay, that's
Enoch
fine.
out. But whilst they're fucking here, I want a
Let
manager
me
that at least
combat what you've been saying.
gives me
you
hope that
won't-
we might do something.
You won't agree with me. I don't think anyone's going to agree with me on the panel. 'cause
I
have said
disagree
this
already.
Before,
I disagree already.
I know you will,
Go for
because
it.
you
go
just
for it.
can't take that. I'm going to be right. That's the problem.
Go for it. Go for
Yeah.
it. Let's hear this waffle.
No,
Let's hear this
look,
waffle.
look. Your Areola thing is compelling. However, I think it's doomed to fail for precisely the last reason that you stated, and every other manager that has failed before him. He will get levied, and when you have managers of his type coming into a club like Tottenham, they get bulldozed all over. Just like Ange has been bulldozed since the first day he walked in through the club, right? And just how you could argue, in a way, Pochettino sort of got bulldozed over as well when he accepted 2.5 years of no signings, and he got hoodwinked into accepting that. If you're going to ask me what manager would I like, personally, I think a manager that comes in needs to have really strong self-belief, right?
Who?
A bit like Ange.
Maz, who?
Ange. What?
Who?
Gasperini.
But Gasperini, I don't think will come because I
Thank you.
think Scott's right. He doesn't speak English, and I think that's a big reason for him that he wouldn't want to come to England.
That can change quick
Didn't
enough.
speak- Yeah.
Yeah, but
Well,
it's
fine,
not only
but
about
he's
speaking
old.
English. Wait, guys, Atalanta is in the title charge, right? Gasperini is not going to leave that to.
Yeah, but I'm
this-
talking,
No, I
we're
don't think
talking
so.
end of the season, right?
Yeah,
And he's
that's
old,
simple.
right? But anyway, he's not the manager I would
Spurs is a
want,
drop down from Atalanta. It's not a step up. It's a drop down.
right? And so you need. I think you need a manager with a good resume, right? That commands a level of respect, and that the manager who comes in commands a level of respect, because Levy will walk over any manager that
Maz,
not
who?
of that
Maz,
ilk.
give me a name. Who?
Right. So hear me out, right? I think if we act quickly, right, we may be able to poach, let's say, someone like Xavi. Not Xavi, no, what's his name? The guy, the Bayer Leverkusen manager. Is it Xavi?
Xavi Alonso.
Xavi Alonso.
Yeah.
No
why
chance.
not? Why not?
You are
Why
out of
not?
your mind.
No chance,
Why?
mate.
Why? Money
'Cause
talks.
he's
If
already
you
labelled.
paid him 20 million a year. Why wouldn't he come? It's Premier League
Oh,
club.
so,
There's no
no.
vacancies at the moment in England, right? Right? He hasn't gone to Real Madrid yet. So why
I'll
not?
tell you why.
I
I'll tell you
agree
why,
with
'cause
what you're
why
saying
leave
about
Go
has
on, Dan. Go on, Dan.
with
You go.
with the money wise. I'm the first one to turn around and say basically 80% of football is mercenaries now. Yeah, hands down. That is my belief in it. I think you could even can't say facts, but definitely not far from it. You put the money on the table, you can pretty much get who you want, when you want, how you want. Yeah.
Right.
If we was to put a certain amount of money on the table, you'd even get Zidane over it. May sound a bit much, but go stick a spectacular amount of money on the table. People don't turn it down. Money talks. There's not many things on this planet that does not have a price. Nearly everything has a price. Problem
I'll tell you
is,
why we're not
hold on
getting
a
him.
minute.
I'll
Hold on
tell
a
you
minute.
why
Hold
we're
on a
not getting
minute.
him.
You know,
I'll tell you why
it's
we're not getting
let me
funny.
finish.
Right,
Let me
right,
finish.
Go
Problem
on,
is,
go on.
we don't pay the bloody money.
Mazzy,
So
go on.
really, that's out the window. But everything does have a price. But we would not get Alonso because he's already looking at. I presume he's already looking ahead of himself, and he's going to get some solid offers.
Didn't he already turn down Liverpool last year?
Yeah, and also
Yes.
didn't he say that he's only going to manage clubs that he has played for, right? After Leverkusen.
But that
Says-
wasn't the
I don't know about
question.
that.
It was the question is, who would you like? It wasn't.
Oh,
Can
No,
we?
no, it wasn't. No,
Okay,
no,
Mas.
no,
Okay,
no,
you
right?
wanna
We
be
said-
petty with the wording.
No,
You
no,
wanna
no,
be
no,
petty
no,
with the
no. It's
wording.
called no, Michael. It's called
I want
English.
Hansi Flick. I
It's
want
called
Hansi
English.
Flick.
You asked the question.
I
I
want
answered
Hansi
it.
Flick.
Mads, you should be a politician, mate.
I want Hansi Flick. Yes,
He
I
is,
want
right,
Hansi
he is.
Flick.
No, listen. It's really funny because I'm watching everyone lose their minds in the chat, right? When I said, do you recall, right? When I said we should go and get Osimhen, yeah, right? And I said, oh, if we put 60, 70, 80 million down, he would come. And everyone was like, no,
wouldn't
he's
say
going to
that.
go for 110 million, 100 million and all this sort of stuff, right? And then all of a sudden, he's been loaned out to Galatasaray and everyone was like, you see? We should have gone for Osimhen. Like
No,
3 or 4
Mads.
months later, none of you lot turned around and said,
This guy-
oh, I'm really
this guy-
sorry, Maz.
Mads,
I'm really
guy-
sorry,
this-
Maz.
this guy-
I'm really
this guy.
sorry that that you were right all along and we should have
Hang
gone
on.
for him.
Hang
No,
on.
right? So anyway, I know it's unrealistic that we're not going to get Alonso, right? I know it's very unrealistic.
So after all that,
After all of that, right? Right. Well, you've got to make the show exciting, innit? You've got to make the show exciting, right?
Oh,
Who
yeah,
I
sorry,
actually
I
think
forgot.
we should.
Spurs is about entertainment, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, fair enough.
Just to unprove your point, basically.
Just to unprove my point. Yeah. No. Who do I think we should get? You know, I don't think Areola is the right guy. I think Marco Silva I prefer, to be honest with you. I think Marco Silva.
I've got no
is
issues
the one.
against him either. I just think Areola is slightly better on the basis that I think they're pretty even managers, which is why they drew 2-2 today. I think they're very even managers. But the kicker for me is he got the best out of Solanke, and we need that. Because Solanke's here for
that's
3-4 years.
We need a
He's not
better,
I hate
no, we
that.
need a better
anywhere.
player.
That's
No,
the
we need a better
worst,
player.
man.
Exactly.
That's so
You want a
Spursy.
manager that's going to work with the
Bringing
players
in
we've got,
one
man.
player.
No, I don't. We
It's
don't.
not
want
just
Dog
that.
shit.
It's not just that. He's working with. Look, if Silva came, I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't have an issue with it, right? If just personal choice on how I think, I would take Areola over Silva. But if we got Silva, Maz, I wouldn't be upset. I wouldn't be disappointed with that. I wouldn't.
But my genuine opinion is I would like Silva. I think is a good shout. To be honest with you, I think he's a decent manager.
Would anyone take someone else other than Areola and Silva that we can realistically bring?
Yeah,
to Spurs?
there's-
Is anyone else. Go on, Scott.
there is
I
one
mean,
that
here's
I
but I-
mentioned.
Let Scott go, and then I'll come to you. And go on, Scott.
Well, I was going to say what I want, because I don't think that there's a manager that's going to win. I don't think there's a manager that's going to come in and properly build. So what I want is a manager that if we get lucky, like we somewhat did under Poch and accidentally got a team that was ready to compete, could take advantage of it and compete. And I don't think that's why whenever I said anything about Ange is I don't think if you gave Ange Poch's team, he would do nothing with it. So I think Frank,
I agree.
Areola, Silva, from the guys in the Premier League are all guys that if they got a good team, they could do something with it. And it's going to have to take luck because we know that we're not going to build it properly. So I'm not going to look at someone who's going to build, which is why I've always said from day one to talk about the project with Ange is stupid because we're never going to see a project through. Levy has shown that he's never going to take time to see a project through. He'll always fold whenever it gets tricky. He's never going to go through the rough times.
That's what
Even
the
if he
Ange
did, like you
fans
said,
say, Scott.
Ange's-
That's what the Ange fans say to you. That's what the Ange fans say to you. They say you're wrong because
they're-
you're not prepared to see this through.
But so I'm not going to have somebody who's going to come in and who's going to build a project. It's going to be somebody who's good enough that if we get lucky and things work right, which probably means we have to get a good path in a cup, that they can take advantage of it. So I think Thomas Frank could do it. I think Iriola could do it. I think Silva could do it. I think there's probably guys that I don't know because I don't watch enough of the teams in Spain, but I'm sure there's guys in Spain that could do it. I don't think it's that like we love Poch and we say what Poch did. As much as everybody knows, I love Poch. I love him. I love him. He's not. It's not like he's elite manager. But what he was is it was a quality manager that, given the right pieces, could do something, and that's what we need.
Yeah,
and Ange is not that. Ange isn't that.
No, just to add on what you said, Scott. If we get, let's say, Ariola, Thomas Frank, or the Girona manager that people are saying in the comments, we need a proper sporting director. We need a fire Scott. What's his name? What's his name? No, Scott. I mean, Lange and Scott Mann. No, Scott. I'm about.
Well, you were close enough.
Yeah, I mean, he's Scott Mann, right? So Scott M.
Yeah, Scott M. Yeah. We need to
you're
fire
right.
all those people. And Poche worked because he had what's his name? What was the name of our doctor? Mitchell, yeah.
Mitchell.
We need people like that. That's the only way it's gonna work.
We had Paratici, who was all right, and then
to be honest,
He's still there. He's got 6 months.
Only 6 months left, right? On the
He's
ban.
still there.
What I think I want even more than anything else is a manager that doesn't come in with his own special fan base. I don't want a manager that comes in bringing his own special. I want somebody who the other fans from this other country are going to come in and tell us how great he is. I can't do it. So if I don't care.
Special
if
fan base.
Ancelotti is coming in here and he's bringing a ton of fans, I don't want Ancelotti. I won't do it. I'm not having any manager that brings his own fans in anymore.
That's where we went wrong. We got a manager with a cult to come.
I'm done with it.
Look, for a manager,
that's the title of tomorrow's show.
There's two I would look at.
That's brilliant. That's brilliant.
One is more for the future. I do like the Ipswich manager, but I don't think
he used to work at Spurs. He used to work. Dan, he used to work at Spurs.
I know.
McKenna.
And
that's what I was going to say.
But I don't think he's right. I don't think he's the right thing now. But the other manager, I wouldn't mind. I'm trying to think of his bloody name now, and I'm terrible with names. Fiorentina's manager. I cannot bloody think of it.
Oh shit!
Someone YouTube it. Someone
I don't know.
For me. I cannot remember his bloody name.
Paladino.
I'm terrible. I'm terrible with names.
Paladino.
But what he's doing with Fiorentina at the moment, one of the smallest clubs in Italy, but always managed to stay there as such, at least mid-table, and doing very well this season as well. I don't think he'd be a bad shout either. And the fact that someone can't speak English, now bollocks. I don't dig that one, yeah, because English is. Let me finish, because English is the most spoken language on this planet, and if the person puts the effort in, they could learn enough of it quickly enough to put it across.
It's a reason he's given Dan. He said he wouldn't go to England because of his lack of English.
No, that's the Atalanta manager.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Gasparini has said he wouldn't go to English because of his lack of English.
Because of his language is a no for me. Like if the manager says it and he don't want to learn it, then that's up to him. But it's the most spoken language on this planet.
No, I agree with you. It's easy enough to get by around that.
Guys,
you can make that work.
Don't you think, though, that the major problem that every single manager has is Levy's propensity just to thrust shit players at these managers, regardless of the players they want? And this is why I think it needs to be a manager that's going to say no. You know? And that's the major issue.
But Maz, that's not going to happen again, though.
No, but
Levy won't allow it.
Levy can't predict that, though.
Mate, I think when they hired Ange, they did their due diligence on whether this guy's going to be volatile or not. I reckon they definitely did that. And it shows, because look at Ange. Look at Ange. He's the biggest puppy.
Okay,
He's the biggest puppet you've ever seen.
So fine. So I will say this then. Whether it's Marco Silva, the Fiorentina manager, Areola, whatever manager under the sun, whoever comes in is going to fail. Because even the best manager,
does that mean we shouldn't change?
Conte, Jose.
Yeah, but I agree.
I agree. I agree that better managers will get better results, no doubt, and we should make the change. That's not what I'm arguing. I'm just saying that don't expect these managers to come in and have the same level of success as what they've had with their respective clubs they're leaving. But they'll do better than Ange. But I'm not going to expect big things from them.
No, I agree with what you're saying there. But I think we have been dragged down to the floor that much that we just... It's like a load of people saying, I've had enough of this defensive shit. I want to see an out-and-out attacking manager. No, I just want to see a manager that can adapt to game by game, knowing certain points of a game he's got to change or take a certain player out the game, and just being able to have a brain of when to change during the game to just tell the players, slow down a bit. Don't burn yourselves out. You're not robots. I am just asking for a more of a flexible manager, I think is more the word. A winning manager is, look, is anyone ever going to win at Spurs until Levy fucks off? It is highly unlikely it happens. But I just want to see a manager that can bloody be a proper manager.
I think.
Yeah, I just want to manage.
So, guys, can I just, Michael, just need to say bye-bye to Scott. Scott, you need to go.
Sit down, mate.
Yeah, cheers, everyone.
Cheers, Scott.
Good to chat as always, and hopefully next time we chat, we'll be talking about which new manager. All this manager talk will be realistic, and we can talk about which one we should be bringing in. But always a pleasure. See you later. Thanks for having me on, Stel.
See you later.
Take care, Scott. Have a good New Year's. If I don't speak to you, yes.
One manager we haven't even mentioned that for me would be probably, I don't know, Iriana is the closest to Poch for me. The other one I would love at Spurs, who's doing great stuff again, is Eddie Howe. Doing a great job at Newcastle.
It's hard to disagree, you know.
I think why would they leave Newcastle? That's the thing.
Why would he? Why? Because he doesn't get on with Paul Mitchell, Matt. There's a real person.
If I do the beef, we get Eddie Howe and Paul Mitchell to come over. I'm like, fuck.
I'm gonna Ian. Let's just think about what you just said, right? Now, Eddie Howe, he doesn't get on with Paul Mitchell. He has to get on with Levy.
I mean, Levy's had it to the point where most clubs won't do bloody transfers with us because they can't stand him.
Well,
do you know what? Eddie Howe this year, guys, no signings. No signings.
No.
De is a good shout. I said that in the past as well.
He was a bit too. He's another one that didn't know when to go pragmatic. He's another one that's a little bit chaotic.
Yeah. He was better than Ange, though. Come on.
But come on. If we're going to say that, then I might as well write a CB and get in there myself.
Well,
go for it. I think you can do it. I'll back you.
Do better than Ange.
I'll do a shot. Yeah. I just want to quickly. I think we all can. Very quickly, I just want to say, Woody. Super chat, Bale and Modric got me into this nightmare. 0 trophies. I'm sorry that's the case. New channel member, big up to Nagrigen. You've also put in a comment, and I'll read it only because you've become a new channel member. And you know what? I feel like I'm repeating myself. Stel, you're a hypocrite. You call out. You become a channel member so I can read this out. just ask. You're a hypocrite. You call out fans for backing the owners and believe the owner is the problem. Then you go to the stadium today and pay your share to the owners and blame them. Right. First of all, if I give up my season ticket, who do you think is going to get it? A Levy out? An Enoch out that's going to protest and make noise in that stadium? No. It's going to be a Sean Butler, a fan who loves the chairman, loves the owners, will defend them to the hill. Do you want a stadium of fans like that? Or do you want at least people in there that are going to get the Levy out chants going? Fans that are going to try and cause a disturbance? You decide. I know why I do it. If I stay at home and watch the games and do what you say, well, guess what? The number one earning revenue for Spurs is what? TV media income. So Sky Sports subscriptions, TNT subscriptions. So even if I stay at home and pay for my subscription to watch games, that goes back into the club. So I can't win on that side. And also, maybe you missed the start of the show. Today, by the way, I've been boycotting for the last 2 months. The reason I went today is because I had guests from abroad. We bought the tickets 3 months ago. They've flown in. What do you want me to do? Tell them to piss off? Fly back? What do you want me to do? Michael is coming in March. I've already promised him and his brother for his brother's birthday, I will get tickets. I'm going to swag Michael. So when they fly over, what do you want me to do? Tell Michael to piss off? Tell his brother your birthday's cancelled? Listen, once in a while, you just got to do certain things. And I'll never give up my season ticket because I refuse to hand it over to someone that's going to support the regime. I can cause disturbances in the stadium. And if you can't understand that, then I'm happy for you not to understand it. I've got my reasons and I'm going to stick by them. That said, does anyone else think a different manager other than... No, Michael, you wanted to speak before Scott left.
No, I didn't.
He's forgot what he was going to say.
No, I didn't. Go,
Michael,
go
1 minute, 1 minute. But,
maybe.
All right. Can I bring up one thing I saw today, right? And it really... It's another thing that pissed me off. I was pissed off the whole day today at that stadium. Do you remember the last show? It's true. It's true. When am I not? When I'm drinking Japanese whiskey, I think. This goal here, right? This was coming. They had 80% of possession in the last 20 minutes. You could tell that something was coming from this lot. And then Nouri spots the run of the striker into the box, but the angle does look very tight. He smacks a powerful, but it was a brilliant through ball, by the way. Mm-hmm. And then Larson, who came on, he from close range, tight angle, he beat Foster. Could Foster have done better? I think he was stunned that the shot came in. It was a brilliant finish. And they got the equaliser without Cunha on the pitch. Now, when that went in, I wasn't surprised because the guys around me were saying to me it was coming. And I thought maybe not because Wolves didn't look that great up front, but I was wrong. What pissed me off was this. Do you remember the last show? We were talking about the tactical failure of Spurs not closing down space, if individuals not being coached. And I brought up this image and I said, when the through ball from Gibbs comes in, why does Udogie and why does Archie Gray fail to slide on the ball? A sliding interception. They didn't even try. And I said, that's down to individual coaching. Like you coach things like that. Archie Gray gets a bit of leeway. He's not a centre-back. But as a defensive mid, I'd expect him to have that in his locker. Today, it was worse, guys. And the reason I brought that point up is because look what happens this time. So when they got the equaliser, look at this. It's a 6-on-3. We've got 6 defensive players against 3 of Wolves. Boys, this is shambolic. This is utter garbage. How can you have a 3-on-6 overload, a 2-on-1, a 3-on-2, a 4-on-3? I get it. A 3-on-6. And in this scenario, in this congested crowd of Spurs players, he threads a ball there. Remember I said no one slid on the ball here. How the hell does not one of these players slide on that through ball? The same thing happened again. This is worse, by the way, because we had 6 players on it. I'm telling you guys, the more and more I watch Spurs, we are not coaching individual defending. Or 1v1, we are not coaching it. And these are things that I've coached as a just players in different scenarios. That's 2 times in a row I've now seen a killer pass go through and no one's trying to slide in and intercept the pass. That's coaching. That is 100% coaching. And a 6-on-3, Maz, a 6-on-3, that is gutter. Absolute trash, that.
I saw that. I've only seen it in real time still, and I just thought it looked a great ball.
It was a great ball.
Fantastic finish.
But no one tried to slide on it. No one tried to intercept it. Nobody.
No, I know. And he hit it, and at first I thought it was going to be side netting, and then you see it's just flown by Forster. I mean, he didn't half rattle that shot. I
didn't know it had gone in until I heard the Wolves fan cheer. Yeah. And I thought, how is it on the other side of the ground? They've seen it go in, and me behind the goal, I couldn't see it. And then I was like, shit, that's gone in. I don't believe it.
It was a hell of a it was a great run
It was a
and
great
a great
goal.
goal.
It was a great
But
goal.
for me, what my thought there was who's picking up the run?
It
Ian,
was great.
6 on 3. Yeah, it was Gray's runner. It's Gray's runner.
Yeah.
You can see Gray at the bottom.
But then I would say
Gray's not a
Radu's a little bit
centre-back.
out of position, right?
He had a
Radu's been
player next to
sucked
him.
out.
Radu had a player next to him, Maz.
Yeah, which is
Oh,
great.
no, hold
right?
on, no.
No, he
No, he
didn't.
doesn't.
No, he's standing in the middle.
He's been
Sorry.
sucked out towards
Sorry,
the
you're
right
right,
hand
Maz.
side.
Sorry, I was thinking of the player there.
Yeah.
You're right.
So
Sorry.
he got dragged out, and that was a bit
Stand
weird
corrected.
because he left Gray effectively having to cover for him. But and one thing I wanted to ask you on is I've noticed certainly over the last 2-3 games, when we haven't had much of the possession, and when we have been out of position, our 2 banks or 4, or almost our 4-5-1 formation that we end up sort of sitting in when we're defending doesn't look solid, because as you've shown in that picture, there's always passes that bypass our midfield constantly. That constantly happens, and then what ends up happening is we then start scrambling in the box, and we end up having everyone congested and all the midfielders literally next to the defenders, and the only team that does that is us. Am I wrong, or am I observing it wrong, or
There is
that?
Maz, say that again, sorry.
You know what it is? Sorry, sir. We're just used, all of us, like everybody on this. We're just used to watching defenses set up, teams set up correctly, and this is just chaos.
Yeah,
This is chaos, and when you used to play 4-4-2, you knew you had the 2 wide boys, you had the 2 guys in the middle. All of them had their areas.
I think you've said it much better than me, Ian. What I'm getting at is when you look at other teams, they're structured and you can see the formation they're playing. Yeah. You can see the areas they're marking. They look solid, compact. Everyone knows which runners they're picking up. With Spurs, we sort of default to like a 4-5-1 type formation when we're defending. That's what it looks like to me, to my naked eye. And then the other opposition teams seem to bypass our midfield really easily with through balls, or they do triangles around our players and slip through, and then we just look chaotic. Everyone's all over the place. I'm just asking, why is that happening? Why do we look so chaotic? Because I thought that he was all about like the zonal aspect of defending, wasn't he?
The shame was, Maz, that up to the last 10-15 minutes when Wolves put their foot down on the pedal, we were comfortable. Forster hardly had a save to make before the one at the end that he made to save the points. There really wasn't much going on. I saw there was an XG of 0.03 that Wolves had.
Ian, isn't this the problem though with Ange ball, right? That you don't need a lot of chances in a game to get in behind us. You don't need to have lots of through balls and crosses in the box and 1v1 domination. All you need is 2 or 3 chances in the game and you've got us. That one pass took out 6 players. 6. That is more than half of the amount of players we had on the pitch.
So it was a wonderful pass. It was a super pass.
Sorry. That's what I'm trying to understand still.
Our positioning is wrong. Our positioning is wrong. Our awareness is wrong. Our individual ability to defend that is wrong. There are so many defensive failures. For me, and I've said it 1,000 times, his absolute neglect for the defensive side of the game is so telling. It's so telling.
But still, why? Is it actually just as simple as you said? Like they don't practice it. Like why can you?
Yes.
Like you see the back 4 as you do in that picture, but then you see the players in front of them, and they're obviously all condensed onto one side of the pitch, and then one through ball negates everyone. But we look like that all the time. Why are they always out of position like that all the time? What is the reason?
Because there is just no structure, no training on how to defend. It's all about go forward.
Right. So they're always bracing back, basically.
Because they are not coached what to do when they are out of possession. When you don't have the ball, what do you do? And for me,
And
if it's not pressing, they don't know what to do. If it's
you
not
would say-
pressing, they are clueless. And that's
you would
it.
say some of
Yeah.
it comes down to the players, that they should just have the common knowledge of how to play football and what to do. But
True.
if you are just set up in a formation and gung ho, forward is hammered into your head, sooner or later they're going to start doing it. Whether they succeed at it and do it properly is a total different story. But that is pretty much what they are doing. Even down to the goalkeeper after he screwed up twice, big time at Man U. The Man U game, he went and done exactly the same thing and nearly screwed up again in the next game. Why? Because he wanted to do it? No, because he got told that is how I want you to do it.
Right.
And with Ian, what you said in the 20 minutes, it didn't. I personally think we looked in big trouble in those last 20 minutes because you could
Yeah, we
just see
did.
that building up with Wolves slowly but surely. It might not have been like all out attack, we're sitting back and getting smashed on it. But you could just see that something was building up there. They was getting something there.
Absolutely. And the funny thing was, I thought the subs he made, Ange, were good subs at the time.
I didn't think they were too bad subs either. I didn't think they were the worst I've seen.
No,
I also don't think he had much of a choice, right?
Yeah.
Well, he did, Michael. He didn't need to make them.
I mean, if he wanted to make subs, right?
But, you know, Werner for some was fine. Madison coming on just to try and get some creativity. Johnson went off, didn't he? I mean, he was...
Why was Madison not starting this game? The player that's
Yeah.
got the most goal contributions in our team, why is he not on the pitch? He's got
Don't like
more
By the way-
goals and assists than
No,
anyone
them
else. and
two
he's
have got
on
a
the bench.
personal issue.
There's
Can we-
He
very
doesn't
little
even.
problem.
He doesn't
There's
even come on
something-
at half time. Dan, he doesn't
No,
even come
look.
on at half time.
I
By the
know.
way, can we talk
I
about
personally
Son today?
think Madison has done something with Angie's wife or something. There is a
No,
big dislike there.
I just think there's been I think there's been a clash probably at training. He's
Yeah, that's probably why. That would cause a clash.
Yeah, he's been in and out, and they've had and they probably had a massive ruck. And, you know, Madison isn't backward in coming forward, and he's probably said his piece. You know, these guys are human beings. They suffer the same frustrations, and they're pissed off like everybody else. But it was just poor because as I say, Wolves just sort of put their foot down, and it was like I didn't actually feel it was a question of when, which I have done in a lot of other games, but I just thought, you know what, Wolves are getting stronger and stronger. It wouldn't surprise me. But I mean, you know, the game should have been finished because Sonny missed a penalty, didn't he? We should have gone in 3-1 up.
Right, can we get
Can we
into
talk
that?
about that? Can we talk
Let's
about
talk
that?
about that. Yeah, I want to replay the
Dietrich,
penalty
wake
because
up. Dietrich, wake up.
we I managed to record it from behind the
Dietrich.
goal. So if you didn't see the penalty, here's a replay. We managed. This is from where I was sitting. Right. There's two things, right? I want to play it again. There's two things I want to show you guys that I spotted. First of all, how long it took for Son to take that penalty and how much thinking time he gave himself, which I think is what cocked it up. He spent way too long at it. And secondly,
No Spurs players on the edge of the box, all Wolves.
that as well. But the one that caught my eye was this. When the ball goes out wide, you can either cross it straight back in or play edge of the box and he whips it in. Look what happens, right? Look what happens when we had a chance to cross it back in, right? Just look what we do as a team.
Son's just standing. Are you talking about that?
No,
The
there was
ball's
another
coming
thing
to
I
him to
noticed
cross
on
it.
that.
And he just casually allowed it to roll past him and their player takes it and they counter-attacked. Some took about 15, 20 seconds to take that penalty. And then when we get a chance to cross it in, so lethargic, so casual, no urgency. It's just, mate, everything about that penalty and 5-10 seconds after.
The other thing with it,
what was
quickly, just a quick point. The other thing with it, I don't know whether you noticed it, the whole time he was looking at the bottom left. The whole time. He did not take his eyes off it. The goalkeeper even was moving, basically.
Read him. Yeah, read him.
Well,
read it like as all you had to do was look at him.
Yeah.
He was looking at the bottom left.
So on TV, they showed all of Son's, I think it was last 5 or 6 penalties, and they're all to that left-hand side. And I was thinking, oh, please don't go to that side. He's probably done his homework, because in terms of who's our penalty takers and what side they go on, and he hit it exactly where Sky Sports showed that he would hit it.
And, it was a perfect save for a keeper, the height and everything, wasn't it? It was absolutely perfect.
Yeah.
And he
in my head,
his eyes off that left-hand side.
Precisely, Dan. And in my mind, when he took that, I was like, oh no, he knew exactly where someone was going to hit that.
Oh yeah,
it was a bit too easy for him, wasn't it?
It was a weak pen, by the way. It wasn't a good penalty, right? The height and what you said, right? Because Kane, Kane used to do the same thing, right? He like 95% of the time used to go for the left, like his left side, right? But he would just smash it into the side netting, so no keeper ever reached that, right? Because it was far too to the side, right? It was just a weak penalty, as you guys said. Everything about it stopped, right? We sat with my girlfriend on the couch, right, and we both said that he's going to miss that, right? It was just a bad penalty. Like,
it was awful in the aspect of there was. I know every penalty you don't have to smash it as such, but bloody that had. It weren't even to the goalkeeper was already leaning over to it, hadn't took his feet off the floor, but he was already leaning over to it because he was looking at Son. It was the perfect height for him. It was almost too slow for the keeper at one point because he might have hit the floor before it went in. Everything about that penalty that's got to be one of the worst penalties I've seen in a very long time.
Don't you think as well it's a little bit like weird the way they had, was it 4 or 5 players on that side of Son on the edge of the penalty box?
Homework.
Yeah,
like
this is why I thought it's really weird. It's like they knew who was going to go that side. Yeah.
Do you know something?
It makes perfect sense what you just said.
When someone to take the penalty just before Solanke actually picked up the ball, it looked like Solanke was going to take it, and Son took the ball off him, and the people around were saying, why doesn't Solanke take it? And there's a few people in the comments saying that as well. And I said, yeah, but Sonny's pretty good at penalties. He normally scores them. I felt confident Son would score. But then in hindsight, looking back, he had a really bad game again. And someone should have maybe just said, listen, Son, let me have it. But, when you're in bad form, there's 2 ways to look at it. Take the penalty and score might raise your confidence and you go on to have a better game. But if you're in bad form, don't let someone in bad form take the penalty. There's no wrong or right unless you score or miss, right? So in this case, it was wrong.
The other thing that should have
Son's been.
He's also the captain, so he makes decisions, right?
Yeah, he's the captain as well. Yeah, you're right, Michael. He makes decisions. But I just feel now, and I've always backed Sonny, man. I've always had massive arguments with other people over this. I've always been with Will Stewart on this because Will Stewart's defended Sonny to the hill. For me, I'm now in a place where we need to sell him, man. For his sake, for the future of our club, I don't think we're going to see the Son we've ever seen before, guys. I think he's actually cooked now. I think the club's just done him now. He's done.
I think what should have happened today still was that Solanke had the ball and should have held the ball because there was a lot going on and the ref had to push the goalkeeper back as well. The keeper was delaying the penalty kick. Take Sonny out of it. If he's taking it, let them all.
You can't do that. Son's the captain. If he says give me the ball, that's that.
Dan, what I'm saying is let Sonny step back. He's going to take the penalty. They're all around Sonny. They're whispering in his ear. They're giving him verbal. Let them give Solanke the verbal. And then when the referee's pulled everybody out of the penalty area, he's pushed the goalie back on the line. Then Solanke can give Son the ball and Sonny walks up.
Okay, I see where you're coming from. Yeah, sorry.
That's what they should have done.
Where you're coming from. Yeah.
That's what they should have done. But yeah, Sonny had the ball and the players are all around him and the goalkeeper's in his face. and it just went on and on. You know, it was a good couple of minutes, I think, before
Look,
he took.
I think James has been right for a while now, and a few of us have just got to admit it. But yeah, look, my wife spotted him before I did. I was like, this player ain't doing too well, and she was like, no, he's really good. I like him, and that was before she even got into football. But he's been saying for a while that Son's done. I still think he's a player you can bring on for 20 minutes and get something out of him in the second half, maybe. But genuinely, as a player at top level, I do actually think he's cooked. His stamina is shocking. Maybe he's burnt out through being at Spurs like the rest of them. We can all come up with ifs, buts, and maybes, but I do genuinely actually think it's game over. And if we do not get rid of him next season, the sad thing is, what happened to Lloris is going to happen to Son, because the problem is mud sticks worse than how shall I put it? Like good, basically. Bad memories stick harder than good memories, and people are always going to remember Son for being great for us. But there's always going to be that mud on the back at the end of it, as yeah. But the last 3 years we should.
Yeah, it's like Dan. It's like Wenger. It's
like
Wenger. They tarnish the end of their career, don't they? They just tarnish it.
Yeah.
Instead
of. And I don't want that happening to Son, but it's already happening. And if he don't go next season and he gets worse, it's just going to be more people are going to remember him more for the 3 years he should have gone than the bloody good 9 years or whatever he had with us, because that's sticks.
Dan, what doesn't help is Sonny being played out wide. Because,
or a captain.
No, fine, no, but talking about positional play, Sonny's always been far better coming in like an inside forward. You know, when Kane
he's always been.
That's right. When Kane was putting balls through to him, he was always running in from that inside left type, the old inside left type position. There is no point playing Son out wide on the touchline.
No, I agree.
You know
he's not a winger. He can't.
He
can't cross. He can't pass. But don't we usually play inside forward, basically?
Well, you know what the point is, right? You know what's really ironic? We have a fullback who is better at overlapping, and we have a winger that's better at cutting in, and we play them in the reverse order, right? We tell Udogi to play as a 10, inverted, and we play Son out wide, which doesn't make fucking sense. Like, sorry, but
we've got injuries, Michael. But there's injuries. You got to blame the injuries.
Yeah, I guess.
You have to. Do you remember what I said, guys? Do you remember what I said at the start of the season? We're going to have problems playing Solanke as a striker and Son the left.
Yeah.
This isn't going to work. Do you remember I told you this? I knew this was going to happen, because Son's best position now is as a striker. But when you spend 60 million on a striker, Solanke, you have to play him, which means if force Son out to the left, it doesn't work. Simple as that.
I don't think this Ange and his tactics and his formation works for any bloody of our players. And it really doesn't. Though.
Kulu enjoys it. Kulu seems to be happy. Kulu FC.
He's a weird case, right? Because he seems to be the only player that believes in himself, his ability. He's willing to try things. His fights, doesn't he? He's constantly in the mix. As I said before, we're seeing the Kulu that Conte bought, when he first came to Spurs, to me. I don't think he's improved. I just think we're seeing the old Kulu that we bought when he first came.
They're playing him in the right position. That's what's happening.
Yeah. But everyone else, I just think everyone is cooked in this system. I think everyone is cooked.
Just out of a question for everyone, quick, yeah? Would you say we play without and out touchline wingers, or do we play with more inside forwards, or is it a bit of both? Because for me, there's a hell of a lot of cutting in there. I don't see crosses coming in from the side that often.
You never see crosses coming in. That's the problem.
No, we don't have wingers. We literally don't have
wingers.
So we play with more inside forward.
And what you're doing is you're cutting into traffic, and that's the problem.
I agree. No, I was just asking a question.
I was whinging about this last year. I said last year you'd never see a cross from the edge of the penalty box on the side. You always see it from 20-30 yards outside from Porro crossing from deep into the box. And that's why we never score in headers.
And whipping him in.
Yeah.
If you remember Kulu's cross that Richarlison headed home at Forest just before Christmas last year, and if you remember the two crosses, I think that Perisic put in the Champions League game for Richarlison, was it against Marseille?
Yeah.
When he scored those two headers late on. We don't see that. That's just that, that's a non-tactic now, unfortunately. And
that Perisic getting injured and then Spurs letting him go, I think, is one of Ange's biggest mistakes he made at Spurs. I really believe
that man could cross a ball.
Mate, can I say today, Porro proved that he's the best crosser at the club. He put in some really good corners today. We scored from one of them.
Yeah.
And it's just such a shame we don't play him as the overlapping wing back because he can whip the ball in, but we don't do it. We just don't do it.
I think technically he's one of our best players. Sorry, Dan.
He can shoot, he can run with the ball. He's got a bit of muscle on him as such, like to hold the ball to an extent while he's running. Whereas Johnson,
he needs to be coached defending. He needs to be coached defending.
Whereas Johnson, you flick him on the ear, he hits the floor like a sack of shit. And he can cross the ball. He can take a good free kick. He is a much better player. I would even say I would try him as the winger, basically.
Would you put Porro in front of Spence?
Yeah.
In front of Spence?
Yeah. Basically, play Spence as the right wing back, and play Porro up a bit. I've been saying that for about 13 months.
I don't think Spence is anything special, if I'm honest with you guys. I think we're just happy. By the way, I've got to do a couple of super chats because I've been sitting for a while. Sorry. Big up to BSC Radio. Hi, lads. Just wanted to encourage you to keep up what you're doing. Thank you very much, mate. It's great to see that you hold our club to high standards. We do try. I met you, Stel, in the away end at Old Trafford after the game, by the way. Were you the guy that tried to fight me, or were you the guy that came to help me? If you're the guy that came to fight me, that can't be. No, you wouldn't pay money. I know who you are. You're the tall fella that came. Mate, big up to you. I know who you are. Top man, top man. Thanks for putting the super chat. I hope you had a great Christmas, buddy. Psycho, did you come to fight me or did you come to help me? Listen to these conversations. Psycho teacher, big up. Our Japanese Brazilian. 2 years ago, the pioneer, the king, the man who invented the number 10 passed away. Pele. Japanese whiskey in his memory. Mate, we salute that. Absolutely. Big up to your super chat. Another player I want to talk about, because Son is, I want to talk about Bentancur, guys, right?
And Dietrich has said nothing.
Yeah.
If I
probably getting told
trouble.
Oh, he's back. I was about to say he's probably getting told.
I said if I speak, I'm in big trouble. That's why I didn't want to say anything.
No, speak, Dietrich. I want to hear.
No, just quickly, I think Son is the worst player we ever had. I think it's the biggest fall off in the history of football.
How can you say that,
man?
Never had, man. Come on, like.
No.
He's one of the best players we've had in the last 20 years, man.
He's the best finisher we ever had, but he's not a good player. I'll say it. I don't care.
I can see what you're trying to say there. Yeah, that's why finisher.
Why do we shit on our good
players? As well class.
Why do we shit on our good players, man? Why?
Because
you can't say he's the worst player we've ever had, yeah.
You're shitting on one of our best players in the last 10 years.
He's never been a Salah because he can't pass, he can't cross, whatever else. But he has been one of our best players for the past 9 years, easy.
Hands down.
Very, very good player, but not world class for me.
Okay, would you say his best season was with Kane?
Dietrich,
Mourinho was one of his best seasons.
Guys, I can't listen to this. I can't. Even if it's comedy, I can't listen to it. When you say he's one of the worst players we've ever had, that means you're putting him ahead of Joe Rodon's, Doherty's, Emerson's, Davies.
Okay,
hold on. I can give you a list of 100 players.
No.
He's phrased it wrong. He said
no. He's the worst top player we ever had.
No.
That's what I would say. The worst top player.
No.
I think that's
because I can name you top players.
He's contributed more than Ginola in terms of goals and assists.
But he's not better than Ginola. Don't be.
But he's contributed more. He's contributed more. Based on what? How's he better? Based on what? Hold on. Based on what? How is Ginola better? Based on what?
Well, didn't Ginola do it longer than Son?
No.
Yeah, he did.
Son's been here, what, 9 years? 10 years?
Yeah.
Who's Sonny? 2015 Sonny joined.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
that's,
summing up
that's
10
I think we
years,
had
right?
Ginola for 3 seasons, didn't we? Is it 3 seasons?
Dietrich, you
Dortmund.
talk some shit, man.
No,
To
I
be
mean-
honest, I'm just taking the piss.
no, I mean
No, really?
Dietrich is
just
trying
taking
to
a
be
piss.
edgy like Dietrich is trying to be edgy like Flowers, right? Just let's
Trying to troll
no.
it.
I mean, this is something that
Worst
I know
play
you.
we've ever
Let's,
had.
let's not talk about it. He's joking. He set us off his random thing.
Yeah.
No, I'm
This
just
is
taking
why
a piss. The one thing I'll say, for me, Son is the biggest foul off I've ever seen from a top player. I like the
More than
highest
Dele
level, the
Alli.
way he just
More
went
than
down.
Dele Alli. More than Dele Alli.
No, Dele Alli
No,
was
because
still
Dele Alli did
scoring,
it
though, wasn't he?
for like what, 2 seasons?
Mate,
3
Dele
seasons?
Alli went from up here and just literally overnight fell off a cliff, man. Like,
No,
like,
he
I can't believe that, man.
deteriorated first for a season or two, didn't he? Then he.
Son,
then
it
he-
was really like he just went down. Like last year he was decent, but now like the way he
you
took
know
his
what,
penalty was it's a
That
bit
is a
sad.
fair point Dietrich is actually saying. From last season of scoring, what was it, 15 goals or whatever, okay, I get it, he was in front of goal, he's going to put more in the back of the net, but
Can I ask you a
to
question?
his
then, Dan?
standards, he does seem
Yeah.
to have literally just gone bang.
Dan, can I ask you a question? Could we not say the same this season for Porro, Romero,
the whole
Adogi,
team.
Basuma?
Yeah. Okay, I'll answer
Werner,
that for you.
by the way, Werner
Yeah,
today
I'll answer that
was
for
the
you.
most-
Yes,
I've never seen anything. Do you know, I've seen some bad. Go on, Dan. I need to talk about Werner. We need to talk about
yeah,
him.
you
Oh
can
yes,
say
please. Let's do.
that. You can say that, and I'll agree with it, but we're talking about Son, so
Yeah, true. fair play.
so that's that basically.
No.
But I agree with you on what you're saying now.
I hold myself to account.
Honestly, no, not to be
go
a
on.
troll. No, I look at it like he can't even beat his man, can't even pass. Like, what is wrong
He's
with
gone to shit. Son's gone to
Yeah,
shit.
like I don't know what's wrong with him.
Even his shooting.
Because at least when I saw Dele Alli, at least he can have a touch, he can do some trickery. But when I see Son, he can't do anything.
Let me ask a question, right? Because I wanted to talk about Adogi today. He went off injured with the way he walked off, not being able to walk. Like he looked really, he looks like he's out for 5-6 weeks, right? Reguilon came on. By the way, even I've said give Reguilon a chance. He was shit, right? I don't want Reguilon. We need to get rid of him. He was shit when
It's
he
the
came.
first time he's played for us in 2 years in the Premiership.
Dan, he tried to clear the ball by flicking his leg
know.
behind him. It hit his heel and went that way. I was like, what is this?
By the
What
way,
you do?
I've got
can we?
players bumping into each other when they shoot. This one's doing ballet flicks in the penalty box. It's just
Come on, Star. Give him a break. He wasn't that bad.
By the way, can we quickly
wasn't
appreciate,
that bad.
guys? Can we
Phil,
quickly appreciate?
you can't. The guy's going to be rusty. He's got to have a run on games.
Yeah, but can we
he's-
quickly appreciate,
Yeah.
Ian? Can we just appreciate how this ownership has put us in a situation where in 2025 our left flank was Werner and fucking Reguilon at the end of the game? Can we just acknowledge what happened today, right? Werner and fucking Reguilon.
You know what's
You're being out
2025.
of order. You're being out of order.
2025 in 3 days. In
Michael-
3 days, it's
Michael, you're
2025.
being out of order, mate. You're being out of
Michael, today was two very average mid-table teams playing against each other. That's what today was. There was nothing more.
No.
Nothing less.
Wolves aren't
Mate.
mid-table. They're relegation fodder. Right?
No, they're not going.
relegation fodder.
Phil, they're not going down. We know that. They're far.
But they've been in the relegation zone all season.
They have. But they've got a manager. They've got a
Yeah, but what
manager.
you're doing
They've
is-
got 7. Still, they've got 7 points out of 9.
You're trying to make us sound better by boosting what they really are up.
No, we're mid-table. They're
Yeah, we
and
are.
they-
They're not.
They're
They're
relegation.
17. They're
they're probably going to be above us in a few weeks' time.
That's
Then
fair.
we're relegation fodder. I mean, I don't
Well, we
know.
know, but
For certain players they've got the capability to stay up. I would agree with that, yeah. But it's another one. You say we should be beating teams like that, but when we've got players like fucking Reguilon, Werner, 4-star in that team, let alone on the field, you know there's going to be issues there.
By
And
the
in
way,
Forster's defence, I think he's been good for us.
He has been good. I've got to say, the first goal Wolves scored today was top draw. You know, that was a puck.
I thought their second goal was good as well.
You got.
was it a
you've
free
got
kick, guys? Guys,
Yeah,
should that
I
have been a
think
free kick to us?
Oh,
I couldn't tell from where I was sitting. Maybe,
Because
I don't know.
forced to put the ball down, waiting for a free kick to be given, and Val gave it as a goal. And from where I was sitting, which was down the other end and high up, it looked like one of our players had been thrown off thrown onto the floor. Or, you know, it just happened in a flash. I could be wrong. It could have been like two players coming together. But I don't know. I was surprised that was given.
Right, guys, I'm going to go. Late for me.
Maz,
Good
seriously,
show, guys.
Yeah,
See
mate.
you later.
you got
Bye-bye.
Maz. To be fair, Ian,
Take care, Mouse.
I think as much as maybe we're surprised that was given, I thought the penalty was really soft as well, if I'm honest. But
No, it
it
wasn't.
was still a
It wasn't.
penalty.
That was a terrible penalty. If that would have been against us, we would have gone off our heads. That was never a penalty for me. Never.
It was
in a million
soft,
years.
No, but the worst
It
part,
was soft.
no, like Scott,
Doesn't matter. We would have missed it anyway.
No, ball don't lie, and some missed.
It looked like it coming together. When the ball was played in, it looked like the two players came together and Johnson fell to the floor.
when they shot the replay, I think Johnson just purposefully just put his foot in front of the opposition player. I felt like it was like he knew he wasn't reaching the ball, so he just made the best he could, right, out of it. Again, not saying it was like soft or not. I just think he basically abused the situation, right?
Having said that, I must tell you, I thought the second goal was brilliantly worked. Thought it was well worked.
Well, our goal.
Our second
That
goal.
was a brilliant. That was a brilliant move.
Superb.
Yeah.
It was a very good move. Yeah. 100%.
And the first goal was an exact repeat. I think Bentancur scored with a header from Porro's corner a few weeks ago, didn't he? I'm sure there was I'm sure I've seen that early in the season.
Ian, we would have scored an equally good worked goal, but when the two strikers bumped into each other.
Oh my God! But having said that, who was offside at that? Because the linesman gave
Ian,
offside.
have you seen the replay of that, by the way?
No.
Mate, watch this. I'll play it again. I played it earlier. No, watch this. I played it earlier. Look at the calamity that this was. I already played it, but because you weren't here, I'll do it again.
That is fucking hilarious, honestly.
Do you know that music? That
Yeah, Benny Hill, I think, right?
Does Bentancur not leave that for the centre forward?
They didn't communicate.
In that situation.
I wanted to talk to you guys about Bentancur. Okay. We often say he's maybe our best midfielder, and when he's on it, he's brilliant. I find he goes missing too much in big moments or key moments of a game. That yellow card he picked up today was the most unnecessarily ridiculous flying lunge, right? At first I thought, shit, that's a red. But the ref ran over there, gave me a yellow. I'm like, okay, thank God. Now he's suspended for the next game. And here's the thing. If he didn't make that tackle, all his yellows would have gone down to 0 because we're past the halfway of the season. It gets reset. So rather than just having the maturity and the...
Well, it wouldn't have done still. Would have stayed at 4 because if you get to 10, then by the end of March, you miss 2 games.
No, but Ian, it goes to 0.
That's only...
It goes to 0 after now because they were saying
it doesn't go to 0. So basically what happens, right? Yeah, no, not really. Huh? Like in first 19 games, right? If you get 5 yellow cards, you get suspended, right? But if you pass, if your team plays 19 games, right? So it's game week 20, then the threshold extends to 10, right? So we are still on 4 yellow cards, but now you need to get 10 to get your first suspension, right?
And it's 2 games, and then it's 2.
No, it's one. It's one if it's your first suspension.
I think it is. Check it, Mike. I think it is 2.
No. It's 2. It's 2 if you got the first suspension for 5 yellow cards, right? So basically, it goes like
1 with 5 yellow cards. It's 1 with 5 yellow, and it's 2.
5 yellow cards. But if you don't get the suspension for 5 yellow cards, then at 10 you also get 1, right? And
guys,
then
I tell you what.
2, and all that doesn't matter. He is suspended for the next game, right?
Yeah, I was going to say
that's what matters.
The fact he's now suspended for the Newcastle game. Do you know something? Someone was saying to me that Bissouma, we should sell him, and for me, Bissouma, I think he's actually a very good player, and I just sometimes I feel sorry for him because he's running around the whole pitch trying to put out fires, and he's not a settled midfielder like normal teams are, and it's very chaotic, and he's caught up in it. But the other part of me, I look at him, the way he walks around the pitch, just how he acts online, trying to gauge him as a person. And do you know what I see? He hasn't matured.
Yeah.
As a football player, he hasn't matured. And I think Bentancur lacks maturity as well, if I'm honest with you guys. I look at things like that, where Bentancur gets that stupid yellow card. And I think to myself, you didn't play badly today, Bentancur, but where the fuck were you for that Nottingham Forest goal in the middle of no man's land, not reading the game? And I don't know. I don't know if Bentancur's good enough to be.
He seems to
part
have
of
a bit of a tantrum on him, doesn't he?
bit of a tantrum, and Danny goes missing. He's not. When do you see Bentancur in big games be the player you say top game, or he really impacted the game?
When do you see any of our bloody
Conte.
players do it? But I do think he's
Conte,
actually got a bit of a tantrum on him. Sorry, Dietrich.
No, I just said under Conte, he was that player. But
under Conte, he was. You're right, but in fact, But I think a lot of our players.
No, not him specifically.
Do you know what? Now you made me think twice. Do you know what, Dietrich? Now you made me think twice.
Also, no,
I'm just wondering. I'm just wondering. Yeah, but I'm happy to admit that, bro.
Okay,
right?
thank you. Love
Don't get used to it, though. Don't get used to it. Do you think then, guys? Here's a question for you, because now I'm questioning what I just said. Do you think that certain players under Conte and under Jose, we saw the best of them under those types of managers, but now they're regressing under Ange? But then there's certain players under Ange that we're seeing maybe do better, like Spence, and young players who never really got a chance. But other players who were good under Conte and Mourinho, they've regressed, like Son, Bentancur. Do you feel that this manager doesn't suit a lot of our players?
You can say that about.
Or am I clutching at straws?
Oh no, just want to say, if you look at Bissouma, for example, we never saw the best out of him at Spurs. But other players we did, like Kulu, like Bentancur, like Son. He's the only one that I've never seen him being at his best. So maybe just the manager is not helping Bentancur to reach that level where he was under Conte. Because if you look now, like he's not like under. Do you remember under Conte was always making those runs and getting tap-ins and getting those goals? Under Ange, he's just playing a different system and different role.
You can say that about a lot of our players. This is what I've been saying the whole time. You play a player in his position at what he's good at what he's best at, and in the right formation with the right tactics, you will see the best of the player, hopefully. But you can basically say that with any player. Go and get a star player and go and basically put him as go and get one of the best overlapping wing backs you can get, and now tell him to play inverted. You're definitely not going to see the best out of him, and he's going to regress. So I think you can say that pretty much with any manager and tactics.
Yeah. By the way, I've just checked the Premier League website, and anybody who gets 10 bookings, 10 yellows by 32 matches has a 2-match suspension.
Yeah. Sorry, my bad on that, Ian. I just said it.
We're all getting it wrong in the last 5 minutes. Don't worry, we're all getting it wrong. Last person I want to talk about. Udogie. That injury, guys, looks like it's another significant one. And if so, it's another setback for a player that missed half of last season, came back and got injured again, came back. Do we have a problem with Udogie, guys? Is it? In fact, not Udogie. I saw something Sava brought up on his show, and I'm going to use it, so I'm sure Sava won't mind. This is the Scottish newspaper dated 12th of December 2021. No compromises. Celtic boss Ange Postecoglou defiant over the mounting hamstring injuries. This isn't new, right? Is Ange running our players into the ground, guys? I know people say, yeah, but we've got injuries. There's not a big enough squad to rotate. But are these injuries because of Ange's regime?
Yes. I was having a chat before the game with a sports therapist who was saying to me that the training that he puts them through and the constant pressing and the constant running is far too much for normal sportsmen. And it's
for a human in general, Ian, not just normal sportsman, for a human.
Sure.
A robot can handle that shit.
Yeah. And and because of that, we are, you know, the number of injuries are just mounting up. It is, you know, he is absolutely spot on that comment just there. He is destroying the players.
He done it at Celtic. It's just where Celtic are that much of a formidable force in the Scottish Premier League, they were still able to walk it with half their players missing. It didn't show because they were still clearly at the top.
Dan, the thing about Udogie is that he hasn't been fit for a couple of months, has he?
I know. I'm just saying players in general.
He's been
Celtic basically.
This is why I don't feel
the same issues.
He's been talking. He's been talking to, you know, he's been in, he's been out. Ian, how are you speaking to all these people? And I was just having a chat with someone who I interact with on Twitter, and she was saying, I'm a sports therapist. I said, well, what do you think of the way the players are injured? You know, it's one hamstring after another, isn't it? And she said it's just not natural. You know, she was saying that Ange will kill Van de Ven's career. He'll just
I think
he's got a weakness already. He had a weakness when he came to Spurs. She's actually gonna batter. Ange will batter Van de Ven. The sooner he goes, and the sooner they change these systems, the training, the sooner they change it, the better. Literally, we will get fewer injuries. We will have players who will enjoy playing again. They'll enjoy training again. This just isn't normal. I mean, how do these owners allow this to just go on and on and on? It's just mind-boggling, isn't it?
I think. Go.
Yeah, no, just quickly. I just want to say, I don't feel bad for players when they have like hamstring injuries. I really don't feel bad for them. Because I know Postecoglou, his system and his training methods are a bit too much on players. I agree. But you have the best doctors, you have the best fitness, you have the best everything, but you still find a way not to get in the best shape of your life. I know Cristiano Ronaldo's not a good. I know he's not a good example. No. But look the way he treats his body. I don't feel like even Kane. Do you remember when Kane always had those ankle injuries, and then he even went and got someone like an expert to stop and prevent those injuries, and he never had one after that.
I mean, in my opinion, there is a certain amount of load your muscles can take, right? And after that,
but this is why you have to work on them.
Yeah, but
you have the whole summer to work on it.
Yeah, but you can work on it as much as you like, and you can only make it. Everything has its limit. Everything, whether you want to call it the ceiling or whatever, and everybody's is different. Some people can just take more of a kicking than other people. Full stop. Even if they don't train for it.
It's even genetics,
at the end of the day. Yeah, and a robot couldn't even handle this shit.
Best analogy I can give, Dan, is if you're driving a geared car, would you drive in second gear up to 60 or 70? You're just straining the gearbox, and he is just straining. He is just straining.
Well, do you remember?
He's straining players' hamstrings, and he's pushing them to the limit. And sooner or later, if you push people through barriers that are unnatural, then their body gives out.
They will hit that brick wall, basically.
That's right.
Even if you remember the players, they said under Conte it was the most intense training you can do.
Pre-season D-tricks. That was pre-season.
No, but even training in general, they said, but it was different training. He focused on stamina, not sprinting up and down every 2 seconds. His one was more
but if you look
on the pitch for 2 hours.
No, but even under Conte, when we were doing the counter, we were the best running team, and we were so bloody fast. Everyone was fucking fast.
We also weren't getting a shitload of injuries under Conte, right?
Not as much as
no, definitely not as much as now, right? I personally think because of like how unprepared our squad is, paired with how much training and how much load they take. That's something, but how much load there is on them when they play. I think it's doing irreversible damage to their muscles, right? Because I honestly, when I see those players and how often do they get the same reoccurring injuries, right? I don't think that's like a matter of them just not preparing enough or not training enough, right? I think at this point, their muscles are not fully healed and they just get thrown back into the mix, right? As soon as they can. And I don't know. I just don't feel like it's we will get to know later this week probably what kind of injury Udogie is, right? But I wouldn't be surprised if it was the same
I think
thing
he's
that happened
fucked.
to him.
I think
Yeah,
he's
hamstring.
Yeah, but Michael,
It's,
if you
at
look
the end of the day, Dietrich, at the end of the
Yeah.
day, it's what I said, whether it's mentally or whether it's physically, you're only human. Some people can take a lot more mental shit than others. You can take the biggest, hardest man on the planet and he can be the weakest person in the head. And you can take the skinniest, rakiest man or whatever, and he can be mentally strong. Example I give, look at the SAS. How many people do you actually see in the SAS that are built like a brick shithouse? Not many at all. Most of them, you need it up there more than anything. And again, you're only human. Whereas some people, if you put it over to the body side, they can be fit as anything, but everyone's got their limits. One a break there, the other a break there, and the other a break up there. And the way Ange plays this style of ball, it doesn't. I mean, Tommy pointed it out perfect when I first started doing chatting with him and that on the channels. And after about 8 or 9 games, he called it out with Van der Ven and said, "You watch this player. His hamstring is going to go halfway through the season, and then it is going to go and go and go." Because during that game, the amount of sprints that he has to do, it's not even the amount of ground we cover as such. We cover more ground than any football club in the bloody world at the moment, from what I've read. But it's the way we have to do the sprinting, 0 to 60, 0 to 100, 0 to 60 every time. And that's the best way to destroy someone.
But then, if you look at, I know it's a complete different sport, I get it. In the NFL, players do 0 to 200 kilometers non-stop.
Different sport.
I know it's a different sport. Wait.
Different physical condition. It's a different athletic. You can't compare that, Dietrich. It doesn't, because it's like
They stop every 30 seconds in that sport.
No, but the amount of
NFL is a
that's the
contact
worst.
sport with padding, and they're built like fridges. Whereas football, they're more athletic, they're slim, they're more.
No, but if you look at the wide
they're more
receivers,
athletes than what they are physical brutes, man.
That's what it's about in football now. You got to be more of an athlete than a football player.
No, but I'm saying, look at the receivers. They're not built like brick walls. They're built like footballers.
But they're also covered in padding, and they're also they don't have to sprint non-stop the way our players do, Dietrich.
Yeah, but they sprint longer distance, and it's always 0 to 100.
Yeah, but how long is an NFL play? Right, once it's like 24, 26, hut, and the ball gets thrown to the quarterback, how long before the play stops? 5 seconds? 10 seconds?
Depends. Usually
roughly
about 10 seconds. Roughly 10
right.
seconds.
That's not football in the UK. You can have like a 5-minute period where the ball doesn't go out of play, man. Like it's
but you
different.
don't but you don't do I'm saying long sprints. Sometimes you do, sometimes you don't, like in football.
Yeah, but in our system you do. In our system they do sprint 60 meters, right? Every 2 minutes.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
sometimes more, sometimes less than that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true.
I don't think you can compare the two sports. I think they're very different. But,
they're two totally different sports.
I want to move on to one other topic before we wrap it up, and that is the next game is Newcastle. Now, if I'm correct in saying Newcastle play tomorrow, today. If you live in the UK, it's today.
Yeah.
It's Monday. They play away to Man United. Now, most people have got Newcastle down to beat Man United because Man United right now are a shit show. If Newcastle win that game tomorrow at Old Trafford, they will go up to fifth above Man City, and they will be 3 points off of top 4 Champions League. Now, we've got them next. They're in good form. They've got a very physical midfield: Tonali, Guimaraes, Joe Linton. Their front line, as we've seen, can be dangerous. Harvey Barnes, Isak's back in form. They're not bad defensively. They're playing us at the best time. We're going to have Jed Spence back, but we've lost Udogie. Bentancur suspended, so it's probably going to be Sarr, Bissouma, and Maddison or Kulu. Look, it's going to be Graham Dragusin in centre-back again, unless one of the centre-backs makes a miraculous recovery. We're still fragile.
Dragusin isn't even fit fully.
Yeah, look, we're running on empty. We don't have many options. We're not playing well.
Ange is the manager.
Ange is the manager. Levy and fans are in the stadium. What's your prediction for this game? How do you think this one's going to go? I actually predicted for the Wolves game. I said it would be a draw. I had a feeling it was going to be a draw because I knew that. Yeah, I just felt this doesn't matter. It's happened. What's your prediction? We'll go around this way. Dan, you go first. What's your prediction for Spurs Newcastle? We're at home, and it's an early kickoff as well. It's at 12:30 on a Saturday, so it's not an afternoon.
Well, I thought today would be a draw or a loss. In the end, I called it a loss. And like you said, we are burnt out, basically. I mean, someone needs to turn that recharge button on, and it's not going to happen anytime soon. And I think all of us called it out that over the December time, January time, we are going to get absolutely fried, like a bit of chicken, basically. And Newcastle are in form. We are in the worst form we've been in, and I just cannot see any way out of that game. Whether it's home, away, whatever, I just do not see a way out of that game. I honestly don't. We are absolutely shot at the back. Midfield just looks a total mess. Up front, it's about. I mean, Kulusevski, he's running on a bloody empty gas tank as well. I just can't see anything but a 3-4-1 for Newcastle. If I'm going to be honest, I think we are going to get absolutely destroyed. And the way we still invert and push the ball up, Isak and Gordon are going to have a field day in the middle. They are twice the physical players that we are, because we have probably got the biggest bunch of pussies in the Premiership. We're going to get destroyed. I cannot see any other way out of it. We might be lucky, but on a realistic note, I honestly don't see a way out of this one.
Ian?
Frightening. If you got Isak, Gordon and Harvey Barnes running at us, or Jacob Murphy, who, listening to a Geordie yesterday telling me that he might not be the best, but he runs through brick walls for Eddie Howe. I mean, against Spence, Dragerson, Gray and Porro. Scary. Gramar, Bruno in the middle with maybe Tonali, Longstaff. God, don't know, 3 or 4 we'll lose. I think we're going to get hammered next week. I honestly do.
Yeah,
I think we'll be hammered. I think he needs to get players back. You know, I know a lot of people were saying we were just missing Mickey, Romero, and Vic today. But you know, when you're missing other squad players, it limits your ability to rotate and bring players on and off, and it limits your options. And I think we're struggling now. We really are struggling. I thought we'd lose today. So for me, the only positives that came out of today really were we didn't lose. Reguilon's alive. And Jamie Donnelly scored again for the Orient. He's having a fantastic period at the moment for them, which is great. I think Donnelly's a class player.
Is that a positive for us? He's not playing yet.
Long term, that's a positive for us.
At the moment,
the only positives I took from today, to be honest. The game left me cold, and that was Wolves. Newcastle in full. God knows what they're going to do next week. Seriously.
Dietrich, before you give us your predictions, this is since the end of November. Crystal Palace 1, Newcastle 1. We lost 1-0 there. Newcastle 3, Liverpool 3. We lost 6-3 at home. Brentford 4, Newcastle 2, so they lost the game there. Newcastle 4, Leicester 0. We were 1-1. Newcastle 3, Brentford 1 in the Cup. Ipswich 0, Newcastle 4. We lost Ipswich 2-1 at home. Newcastle 3, Villa 0. We beat Villa as well 4-1 at home. So they're in scoring form. They're scoring an average of 3 goals. In the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 games, they've scored over 3 or 4 goals. They've conceded in only 2 of those games. They're in really good form. Based on that, and you look at our form, what do you think, Dietrich?
We'll be lucky if they don't broadcast the game on Pornhub. It's gonna be an absolute destroying. I'm predicting 6-0. Newcastle.
What's that? A bit of speed porn.
Speed porn, yeah.
Here we go again. Here we go again. So you think we're going to get battered, basically?
Stick it on Michael's channel.
No, it's gonna be an abs. No, it's gonna be like a gangbang. It's not gonna look good.
Hey, yo, isn't that haram or something?
Yeah, it's gonna be haram. Everything you're gonna watch on Saturday is gonna be haram.
Yeah.
You enjoy it deep down. You enjoy it deep down. Don't pretend.
No, I say astaghfirullah, that's all I say. But if I see Gordon versus Poro, and whoever plays on the right versus Jet Spence, and Isaac versus
Well, Jet Spence will be left back. Jeff Spence will go left back.
Yeah, Jet Spence, whoever plays on the right for Newcastle, and Isaac versus Gray and Dragusin.
Yeah,
so battering.
Yeah,
Michael?
it's gonna be terrible.
Sandpaper included, mate. This one is gonna hurt. I just don't see another way.
We're gonna walk like Dan says. We're gonna walk like John Wayne.
Yeah.
Well, the good news is after Newcastle, 4 days later, we've got Liverpool.
Liverpool, yeah. I think we are gonna get smoked by Newcastle. I think they will completely dominate us in the midfield. They have Tonali, Joe Linton, and Bruno Guimaraes. Their forward line is firing, and just overall better quality than us. I just can't see us winning this game. I don't know. Like maybe by hook or crook we lose like 2-1 or something like that, but I just don't see us winning this game. I just don't see a reason to. If we win, it's probably going to be like one of those wins, right?
They are literally going to fry us like a bit of bacon, and then Liverpool are going to put eggs on us and eat us.
Yeah.
Guys in the chat, please leave religion and politics out of the comments. It's a football show. Let's keep it football. I think, right,
Jesus
when
Christ.
the comments, it happens once in a while. In the comments, everyone's going 3-0 Newcastle, 5-1 Newcastle, 4-1 Newcastle. Everyone's just predicting a battering except for one person called Wayne, right? Normally, guys, when that happens, the complete opposite occurs. However, the form we're in, there's no way I see us winning this game. I don't think... I watched the game against Wolves today, and I thought these teams are very evenly matched. They both play out from the back. They're both risky at doing it. They're not creating enough chances. It was a game of few chances. And I thought a draw was actually fair today. Newcastle defend better than Wolves. The way I saw Wolves defend today, Newcastle defend better than that. In terms of the midfield, they're going to bully us. They're going to absolutely bully us. I think we've got more goals in our front line, but our front line looks shit right now in terms of the levels they're at, and Newcastle's have found form. Boys, you know what? I agree with you guys. I think this is a 3-4-0. I think they're going to
just to add to it.
Maybe we'll get a goal. We'll get a goal. Like 4-1, 3-1. They're going to
just to really rub it into it. I can also see us walking off of this with an injury or so. Just to really rub it in.
I think we're going to get injury in training this week and find out on Friday that another player's injured in training. If I'm honest with you.
You know what? You might as well just stick them up on there and get an AK-47 out, for God's sake.
Can't we just wave a white flag and call it a 3-0, right? If you surrender a game, it's 3-0, if I remember correctly, right?
That's the best thing we can do.
Yeah. When you forfeit a game, they get 3-0. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. Just say not to mate. The darts is on. Like Brennan Johnson and Madison tonight have a big grin on their face. I mean, I sent you the pictures. Still sitting there having a good time and a good drink.
I'll have a look at it. It's on the old WhatsApp. Look, I want to say big up to everyone that came on the show tonight. Thank you, everyone. Make sure you follow Dan, the Hotspur Hoods channel, people. Thank you to the super chats for tonight. We had one from channel member Tom, Elucidad, edX channel member, Bertie Hotspur, A user, as always, with some super chats. Thank you, A user. Phil Coys, Nugget channel members, Richard with super chat, Conge channel member, Boise, Mark Swifty. I'm going to leave this one up. Rob Ayres and Jason H. and Woody Hotspur and BSC Radio and Psycho Teacher. Big up to each and every one of you. Let me just quickly show the super chats just so you can see your name up on the screen because I know it makes people happy. I just want to finish off by saying big up to Mark Swift. He's been with us since day one when we started the channel. Still on the Tottenham away crew. Thanks for all your hard work this year. Big up. And I want to say to you and everyone watching this show, I'm wishing you a happy new year from myself and all the Tottenham away guys. I'm sure they'll say it again on tomorrow's show. I'm not on tomorrow's show, but I just wanted to say happy new year to everyone because it's probably the last chance I'm going to get. We're live tomorrow at 8:30 p.m. Come and join us. JP, Lee, Maz, Mari, Iggy, they'll be doing the show tomorrow. Dan, your last words. Big up your show. Wish anyone happy new year. If you're not going to do another show before New Year, go for it.
Yeah, happy new year to everyone and everyone who watches and everyone who does the shows and that. Thanks for the help of obviously the chat and obviously all you guys, Sava, Tommy, everyone else out there, Alex and all that lot who's helped me get to 4K on this. And wow, what else do I say really? I don't really want to mention Spurs because that'll kill everything I've said. So happy new year, everyone.
Lubo, I don't know if you're on the show tomorrow night. If you're not, feel free to wish everyone a happy new year as well, or anything else you'd like to say.
Yeah, no, just special wishes to everyone for a happy, healthy, successful new year. Keep the faith. Levy won't be here forever. Ange won't be here forever.
Nor will we. Sorry to kill it.
You had to kill it.
Dan just took a gun and
put on that video. Put on that video of Lucas Moore in Amsterdam. That will cheer you up.
Dietrich?
Just want to say happy new year to everyone as always. I'm not gonna mention anything about Spurs. It was a great year. Love to meet new people like Ian. It was a great pleasure. And I wish I could retire from this shit because I'm tired. That's it.
Big up Dietrich, man. Michael.
Yeah, big up, guys. I really enjoy those shows. It's pretty much the only thing about Spurs right now I enjoy is speaking with you, interacting with with the chat. Even though we sometimes get a bit of shit from you guys in the chat, it's still worth doing that. And yeah, happy New Year's to everyone. Yeah, and listen, 2024 was shit in terms of supporting Spurs. Let's just hope that 2025 is a bit better. Yeah, what else am I going to say, right? I'm not going to say we are going to win the league
Mike,
in 2025.
The way to do it, mate, is like this. You just sit there and you
yeah.
That's the way.
Mike, still, can I just add? Still, I've got to add, and people would say, Ian, you know, what's happened? You're suffering from amnesia. Archie Gray's going to be a star in 25. There you go.
Only go. Keep up the
Do you
play.
know what?
Keep
Do you
up
know
the
what?
play, yeah.
Fair play to him, man. He's doing a job in a position he shouldn't be doing, man. Fair play.
He has done pretty well, it's true.
Fair play.
You wait till he plays in his proper position. Boy, he'll be a star.
If he does.
There is something I've just remembered, actually, and we're going to finish on this, right? A bit of fun before we wrap it up. I totally forgot about it. So my guests that come over to the UK for the game today, we went for lunch before the game near where I live, and I went to the toilet before we left, and there was this brilliant football picture up on the wall, and I took a photo of it, right? Everyone pick your favourite one. Ladies, you might not get this. This is more of a lads thing, but pick your favourite one. The Pele, the Maradona, the Beckham, the Ronaldo, the Messi, or the Del Piero.
Don't be messy.
So as you're by the urinal, it says "Don't be messy," and it gives you.
Right, that's really good.
I thought the Del Piero was pretty good, man. I quite like the Del Piero.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, but the Maradona one is pretty impressive. Like, yeah, water bending and shit, mate. It's like pee bending, I guess.
Oh my lord. All right, people, listen, we're out of here on that one. Thanks for watching. I hope that ends it on a good note. Wish you a happy new year from me. The boys will be back tomorrow 8:30. I'm sure Dan will do a show before the end of the year. Otherwise, I'm not even going to bother saying come on you Spurs, but come on you Spurs.
Scores.
The first game we look for, Robbie. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away. Tottenham away. When we got Tottenham away.